So, yeah, good evening, everybody who decides to watch this program. I got five people on here and one person in waiting. I don't know how this happened. I said, "Hey, Bear, you want
My
to
fault.
stream?" And here we are.
My fault. I told them I was leaving a show to come hang out with you, and they're all like, "We should invade." And I'm like, "Here's the link."
Hey, I'm not bitching. I enjoy some of you. I mean, most of you. No, okay. I like.
Don't worry, I'll be gone soon. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd kick the rest of them off and keep you, Max. But it is what it
fuck yourself twice then.
Wow. Well, actually, Connell, if you got a minute, this will be the last thing I do say before I head out. I do. So, apparently Bruce's Discord got hacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I thought I got
ignore the message I sent you. Then
I am.
Okay, because I sent a message to Bruce and he had me blocked, and I was like, "WTF on that one? You leave my Discord and then you block me." I'm like, "What the hell?" But now that I know that his Discord got hacked or whatever, okay.
That wasn't even a good hack. Like I just sent him the old school "I'm a Nigerian prince" thing, and he bought it.
It is Bruce.
Could be true.
My favorite one of those is the Nigerian astronauts. You ever get that one? I was teaching a class where I had 4 Nigerian students at that point in time, and I got that email like, "Guys, did you hear what's happening to your space program?" And they're like, "Space program?"
What's the common one right now? Oh, you get an email saying you ran a toll or did not pay a toll booth somewhere like in New Jersey.
Oh, I'm getting Amazon UPS packages.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm getting.
Yeah, but it's like New Jersey. I haven't been out to New Jersey in 5 years.
I'm getting
pretty good,
the text messages, "Thanks for contacting us. Are you interested in our job?" And I always respond with, "Show me your tits."
I get a lot of spam stuff on Facebook because I advertise on Facebook sometimes. So I get like all these messages like, "Oh, you violated copyright, so we're gonna shut down your account. Like, click this link." And it's always from some Nigerian dude, like some friendly looking smiling black dude, like called Mumbula or something. It's like, yeah, I'm totally gonna click your link.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding though. Like those are the names over there. Like
First of all, it's pronounced Bile.
Yeah.
What was that? A couple of years ago, I got a call saying I owed back taxes, which I don't.
Did you?
No, I don't. I'm good there. Anyways, and
You don't pay your taxes?
Yeah, I pay my taxes.
What kind of person doesn't pay their taxes?
No, not days.
I know, Connell. You need to pay that bill.
Right, and if I don't resolve this right now, the sheriff was going to come knocking at my door. I'm like, okay, well, I'm waiting. Let me know when he's going to show up, and they just hung up.
Yeah,
but yeah, those are fun.
Can I interest you in a home equity loan?
No.
It's fucking like scamming. Like it's so many like the scamming now, like on the scamming call. Like now you can't fucking answer your phone anymore. Like it's a number you don't know. Like it used to be like, you would answer, you would pick up, right? Because like you would have the assumption that probably somebody wants to talk to me, but now it's like 9 times out of 10 is gonna be a fucking scam.
Well, somebody does want to talk to you, but it's no one you want to talk to.
Yeah, no, that's somebody that has legit business, right? Like it's like
right.
They fucking destroy the telephone system, basically.
Fucking jackasses.
Yeah.
Fucking India.
We should run a nuclear war on them.
Last big scam I had to deal with, they had compromised an inventory management software, and they were exfiltrating data through packets that were disguised and look for update checks.
Malachi, you have to stay. You have to come in the chat because we have to test the theory. Are you more fun to pick on, or is Connell? And if you're having the two of you together at the same time is the only way we can test that theory. So don't leave Malachi.
Well, no, I was the one that said I was going to drop out.
Connell, because you feel mad for Malachi.
Wow. Malachi said he was going to drop out in the back room.
Oh, okay. Well, I said about, so unless there's anything you guys want to talk to me about, I won't take up any more of your time here. Whoever's waiting can pop on in. Connell, good to see you again.
Good.
And hope everybody else has a good night.
Bye.
See you, man.
See you next week, man.
All right, scroll this back up so I can add Malachi.
Malachi! All right, let's test the theory. Nerd, who do you want to pick on more right now?
She's speaking of Malachi already before joining.
Malachi.
Yeah. Malachi, fuck, dude, you're getting it. Connell, this might be your birthday, buddy.
It's the most you've gotten your whole life. fucking loser.
I'm just
Hey,
glad
can you
I'm
make
left
our
out of
heads bigger? I really
the-
hate squinting at people there, buddy.
Really?
No,
Nope,
the other
that's
one. Second one over.
That's what
Nobody
everybody. That's
wanted
what
that
people
head
want.
bigger.
Oh, Jesus
Nobody
Christ.
wanted that.
Worse. Second one over, Ted.
Stop boomering it up.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There you go.
Are you leaving, Victor?
I can hang out for a little bit. I do have to take a leak though, so be right back.
Okay,
yeah.
thanks for the information.
How about
was
no,
curious about
crazy
that.
Dutchman?
Connell's trying to understand this crazy.
So did everybody have a good week?
It was okay.
Is
I
that
did.
It's
right?
all right.
Worked a lot.
Yeah, it worked. That's
I
about it.
get that.
I actually had a slow
Played heroic
week at
earlier,
work.
right?
Nobody needed any saying, so I got to do like I just fucking hobbied it out all weekend. I stopped taking my my daily sedative, and I just like hyper fixated and just fucking got shit done all week. It was amazing. I painted an entire table's worth of World War II terrain.
Nice.
Well,
Are you
I
on
think
really?
that's why I can't be into miniatures. I'm not even remotely autistic.
Oh. Well, damn.
Way fook.
You might have something there. I think you have to be minorly have ADD to be a ER doctor too. In a
ADD
server.
to be ER doctor.
No, I'm serious. Just the from bam to bam to bam. It's just I don't think a normal person can do that.
Bam to
Yeah,
bam.
and then you
bam.
forget your scalpel because it's inside the dude's lung. Like
It's
no,
not
you
like
don't
that
wanna
has
ADHD
not happened
doctor.
before.
Your stranglehold on medical procedures is exceptional, Connell. Like bam to bam to bam.
All right.
That'll
so
fix
Nick,
90% of all human ailments.
It really does. 3 bams will do you. That's how it works. You got the cancer? Bam, bam, bam. There you go. Cancer free.
That's the Canadian method.
Yeah, no. You got the cancer? Would you, if you considered self-assisted suicide?
Yeah.
Illinois is actually
You
thinking
can't
about
have
passing-
cancer if you're dead. That's just science.
Illinois is actually thinking about making that legit.
Yeah.
Assisted suicide.
And they do it in a fucking pussy way, right? Like fucking injection, right? I'm like, if it was like, are we gonna fucking shoot you in the face with a shotgun, right? Should be
So
an option.
wait. Maxwell Van becomes Prime Minister of Canada and introduces the new version of self-assisted suicide.
Yeah.
The deadliest prey.
Did you guys
Give you a machete and release you into the wilds of Quebec, where you are hunted by, gladiators.
by the Prime Minister himself.
Did you guys hear about that suicide spot? I think it was in Switzerland and Austria. Either one of those. I always
Yes,
confuse them.
that's so
But-
funny to me.
But like, so basically, they found out that like the first woman that used that to commit suicide, they found out that it actually didn't work, and the guy that made it just like strangled her to death, basically. Like,
That's
so-
I don't know. That's so
Yeah.
funny to me. Like,
Yeah.
does that mean you're a
What happened?
psychopath?
So they made. I think it was Switzerland or Austria, one of those two. They made like a
Switzerland.
suicide. They made like a suicide port, and basically it's like this big port. You go in it, and it fills with like some gas, and like you just quietly suffocate to death. And then the first woman that like used it, it turned out it didn't actually successfully work. She was actually still alive. So the guy that invented the port, he just opened it up and he strangled her to death. So he's just like
That's
being
just good
charged for-
marketing.
yeah, he's just charged with murder now.
What was
Yeah.
that? Not Futurama. They had a murder, suicide.
Suicide
Was it
boot.
Futurama,
Yeah.
like episode 1
Yeah.
or 2?
Yeah.
The 1, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Bender's got the
Everybody
coin.
shut up. Connell and Malachi are going to awkwardly explain shit we have seen before. Go ahead, you two.
No, I'm good. I'm just making sure I knew the right show. Other than that, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Japan's got the
It was actually The
tree.
Simpsons where they went into the future and then backed into a suicide booth.
I thought it
Oh,
was
okay.
Family Guy.
Oh,
I guess
yeah,
it's
you're right. It
probably-
was
they
Family
probably-
Guy.
They probably
Oh,
all
I
did
thought
it.
it was C-Lab 2020. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, it was Sequest.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it was Johnny Quest. That's how they got
Yeah,
rid of fucking Ed G.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems
But
pretty
you know,
dark
like-
for Johnny Bravo.
I'm not taking this bullshit anymore, Dr. Quest.
All I'm saying, like now that we open the Pandora box and we say like life's not secret and you can choose to kill, to have yourself killed or whatever, we should open up the option, right? Like bring it the battle to the death, right? Some people like like somebody like I want to die, I want to sign up for a fight to the death with some other dude that want to die in the same way, right?
And-
And then like
Yeah,
fucking
think
Have
taking
you
about
ever
the money.
seen 2 fucking terminal cancer patients, Max? That wouldn't be much of a fight.
Yeah,
I'd
it's the one with
still pay to watch
ALS.
it.
Also, you're doing it for a different reason, right? I'm just bored.
I mean, we're already in this weird like cyberpunk future. We've got like Terminator AI being made. We've got like Jurassic Park stuff, like they're making dire wolves and shit now.
Yeah.
You might as well do the running, man. I mean, let's go all out.
That's
Like-
still my favorite meme I saw, which was they recreated dire wolves, and then it was the Indian guy doing the arms on the thing stare meme, but they put Jon Snow and Ned Stark's head on it. They're like, they've recreated this things, and they named one after a Targaryen, and it's just the two Starks staring like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The fact that they, I realize the concept of cloning direwolves is cool. I think it's cool as hell. Then the second thought kicked in. It's like, okay, that's cool. What are you guys going to try to bring back next?
Well, we're going to try to bring back the mastodons next, so that way the direwolves have something to eat.
They're working on mammoths and they're working on the Tasmanian tiger.
The Tasmanian devil, to be honest, the Tasmanian devil, I'm fine with.
Tasmanian devil still exists. Tasmanian tiger.
Right, well, I'm fine with that, but a creature that has not walked the earth in over 3,000 years has no place on this earth.
The last mammoth is about 4,000 years ago.
4,000. 4,000, direwolves, 10,000.
Either way, if you take out the human...
The direwolf existed at a time when a thing called megafauna existed in North America. So they were like fighting saber-toothed tigers and hunting giant fucking aurochs.
I think there's a lot of people that would classify as megafauna in America now.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, I watched the interview with the CEO of that company on Rogan. He went on Rogan and he did like really interesting interview, and like they talked all about their plans and stuff. So what they do is they always spare, like, so if they're bringing back an extinct species, they pair it with a project where they revive like a species that's about to die out. So while they were doing the dire wolves, they also did the red wolves, and the red wolves there's only like 15 left or whatever. Oh, wow. So and they do it for free basically.
They're working on dire red wolves.
They're working on artificial wombs, so they want to eventually do like white rhinos and stuff like that. And
they're going to
keep these in a fucking cage, or they're going to release them into the wild?
No, they're going to release them. They're like, it's going to be.
So, do you think the dire wolf being released into the
wild?
No,
not those. Not those. I mean the ones. I mean the animals that are actually the one now. Though there are like Native American tribes that are interested in having the dire wolves on their land, apparently. So.
Yeah, well,
for the first
nerds.
The whole point of bringing back these cool shit like the dire wolf and the dinosaurs, which I swear to God, if they don't do, I'm going to murder someone. But like the whole point of those is that it gets funding for the actually important shit, which is saving species that are about to die, medical research, etc.
Like the South Korean.
Do for free then. So yeah.
I agree with that, nerds. The problem is this whole situation is making me sound like Ian Malcolm. Because these creatures don't belong on this planet anymore. It's not I'm trying to be an asshole, but they have.
Here's the problem with that. Nothing belongs and nothing does not belong. Shit just happens, and then we die, and it never mattered.
I mean, technically, I would say the Tasmanian tiger still belongs. That's less than 100 years. They did like an experiment where they took like a silhouette of a Tasmanian tiger and they put it in the forest there, and they like put cameras up, and like all these animals that would like see the silhouette, they would like immediately freak out. They like still instinctually like recognize this as like the big predator species in that like it basically it's what they call a keystone species. It basically fucked up the whole like ecosystem there by removing that.
It's still a giant shark tooth monster, right?
Yeah.
It'll be really kind of cool though if they can find it, and there's got to be some DNA out there. Bring back the dodo.
I was going to say that.
The dodo was hunted to extinction.
By my people. Hey, hi.
Yeah.
They didn't eat the dodo bird. They just killed it and burnt it like it was firewood.
No, they ate them.
It made great firewood. Do you want them to cut down the trees instead?
We made clogs out of
their beaks. Do you hate the fucking forest?
Yeah, clogs out of their beaks and turkey. Thanksgiving dinner out of their bodies.
But if they're gonna do like weird science, they should fucking get weird with it. Like stop trying to nerd it out and like think about like consideration and like balance and like if you want to fucking bring back shit, like just go buck wild with it, right? Just like
how many raptors versus direwolf? Let's go.
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly. Get them off their Adderall and let them go.
Yeah.
Well,
and like
so
some native tribe like said they're interested in having like dire wolf on their land.
Yeah.
Why not? Like they're responsible people.
Let's see how that works out. I'm just saying.
Great.
I'm not from the res. I'm not saying I think dire wolves are going to work out well.
They're just stockier wolves that are like 25% bigger. I mean, that's
Yep.
pretty big, but
Yeah.
um,
They still
But,
die when you shoot them.
this company, they're not going to do anything with humans, they said, but they did admit, like, the technology's out there. China has it, Russia has it. Like, and I was talking with my
When did
friend.
they do a
like,
sheep? 40 years ago?
Walking around on planet Earth, you're not paying attention.
no, but like in 10
There
years,
are
like,
definitely cloned humans.
there's
walking
gonna be
Yeah.
a propaganda video in 10 years from like some Chinese commandos, and it's like, why do they have like like weird sloping foreheads and like a lot of body hair? They're just gonna have like Neanderthal commandos that are like 4 times
Well,
stronger than a
they're
regular
gonna have-
human. Like,
3 billion Bruce Lees in their army.
yeah.
because technically what they did to bring back this dire wolf is like gene editing. They just like and if you do that, you can like gene edit human to make them like the strongest and the smartest. Basically, make an army of fucking Max Boivin, right? Just like,
No,
can you imagine a country
No,
of that?
no, no, no,
no.
no.
No, but then
The
none
United
of them
Nations
will
will have
ever
to
understand
issue
the
an edict.
orders they give.
Yeah.
None of them will ever understand the orders that they're giving each other. It's like, oh, what did you say?
Okay, day one. We've got our 15 Max Boivin army. Bring them out to the field. Why are they fighting each other? Because I want to prove I'm better than him. Okay, they've stopped
That's
fighting and
literally
now they're
what's
fucking
balance.
each other. What the hell's going on? Holy Jesus, I haven't seen this much gay sex since I left the baths. What the fuck's happening over here? You know, like that's how that plays out, man.
Hey, it's not gay if you fight fucking your
That's what
clone.
he wants. He knows what it's about.
Actually, it'd be masturbation if anything else.
I disagree highly. I think it would
Really?
actually be gay sex. Just gonna call it
Well,
what it is.
It's kind of like a gray
both.
zone.
But yeah, no, we're gonna have like Neanderthal, like Russian commandos, and they're like gonna fight in like whatever war
already?
zone in 10 years, and they're gonna like send saber-toothed tigers into the ruins to like hunt people. It's gonna be wild.
And Victor's already got his idea for his next
Yeah.
OSR product.
Basically, yes.
Or maybe his first everyday
I'm way ahead of
Heroes
you.
product.
Clone World.
Yeah. Gene
He's
punk.
getting excited for when his weird alternate shit is just historical.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
And
Ronald
then-
Reagan
and then
riding
what,
on a
the
raptor.
Yugoslavians are going to create orc gupniks. Is that what they're going to create
Yeah.
next?
I'm just waiting for them to be able to like gene edit existing people because I want a Neanderthal dick.
And you on
Didn't
like
Neanderthals
you
have
or
really
in you?
small penises?
I don't know. They don't know. Like not like they've. I'd be surprised
Yeah,
if there's a
like,
Neanderthal dick fossil
Every
somewhere.
generation of humans has larger genitals than the generation before.
Nah, that's
You know
That's
how
bullshit.
they have like those
Go look
fossilized.
at she has a point. The human species has gotten bigger and taller over the generations.
Yeah, but
Yes, and the reason she's right is because unlike our primitive ancestors, we don't have to. We protect and hide ours, so they're not an easy target anymore for predators. As a result, they got bigger. Which is when we were running around buck naked in the woods, they wanted to be smaller, so they were less of a target for the enemy or the monster or the animal to bite on.
Or the
you know how they have,
branch
like,
you
those
run
fossilized, those
Yeah.
fossilized footprints that are like 70,000
Why
years
do?
old?
But this is the thing: if the dicks are getting bigger, why the fuck do foreskins still exist? That was literally something that was designed to protect our cock from running through tall grass.
well,
That would
still,
cut.
it still protect you from rubbing in your fucking boxer, and also
it-
it give
yeah,
like
it
a
still-
mechanical
Yeah.
advantage to
Those
avoid
dirty,
friction.
dirty, soft cotton boxers that are just so
No,
but
gentle on
The
my
head of your dicks
member.
become less sensitive if it's rubbing on your boxer all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
this
did-
conversation's kind of gone
And
gay.
yet mine's pretty sensitive, so I think I'm good.
Well, imagine if
But
you
you have nothing to compare it to, though.
If it was more sensitive, Christ, I couldn't ride the bus.
Yeah.
It'd be a horror story. It'd be
No,
just
but
so
it-
bad.
No, because then it's covered by the foreskin.
They
When you
okay.
don't not using
No
it.
joke, no joke. Okay, this is a little off topic, but it's on topic and it's weird. I'm 54.
I hope
doing
it's off
55,
topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was literally riding on the bus, and the vibration made me turn into a 14-year-old all of a sudden. And I just sat there going, what the fuck? Like, I must, my face must have looked like, someone had just shown me a creature with 5 heads, because I was just like, why is my body doing this? I'm in my 40s. What the fuck? It was weird.
Well, you know.
Like the boxer I wear are camel air with the air from the inside, but that's different. Anyway,
Well, no, I mean,
Now they're going
Mr.
to
Max
be
is
dire
right.
wolf fur.
It has been proven that circumcised dicks are less sensitive or by a fair amount than uncircumcised.
it's also
So,
like like
this was the plan to get me canceled off of YouTube. Talk about dicks all night.
Yeah.
Nerd, can you share some
So here's the
mechanic information with us, please?
No, I cannot, but I can reveal our master plan, which was to bring Mr. Max Bravon on here and then mention Foreskins and wait for him to do something really bad so you get banned.
Your masturbate plan?
What? No, I'm not gonna show my foreskin.
No.
I can do
It's
it to
in
you
the
if you
jar in the
private
next
one.
room. I have to get up and go get it. Why would I show you that?
If you want to do that, let me get Shadow to start his own show. He's already had somebody shows wank on one of his shows already.
Where is
Well,
Shadow?
you
By
got
the
it.
way?
Send you a link later if you want, nerds, if you're very curious.
No, no one's
It's a
curious.
trap.
It looks like
That's
a stretched
like a-
turtleneck.
Sounds like a what's it called? A spider trapdoor spider.
Wow, there he
Well,
is.
he has seen a lot of that
Okay.
news,
Right,
right?
but Connell just showed up. There you are.
Fuck off.
I was at the food depot, the place where they grocery store. There's my
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you don't drink. No,
I hate to break the news to you, dude. I was around you when you drank. You did it then too. You just did it
yeah.
drunk.
I do it when I drink. Well, I'm
Dumb
I
is
just didn't
dumb.
care.
Dumb is dumb. Look,
Dumb.
Malachi, you are not the smallest chimp. That worked out well for you.
Yeah.
Malachi gets to go to bed with a greater sense of purpose in the world now. Connell, you're doing the Lord's
Oh
work.
shit, I fucked up.
Sorry,
So I got a
dude.
question for you guys. I'm having a complete fucking nerd moment earlier this week. I rewatched on Disney Plus. Was it?
What a story!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
White,
Fuck, you wanted to ask a question?
yeah,
but you
yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking think
Hold
about
on.
it for 5 minutes. during the-
White Lotus?
No.
Star Battle Wing Star
Daredevil?
Stop. Oh, Daredevil's driving me crazy because that's such a fucking slow burn.
Yeah.
Not White Knight. What is it? Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. I want to play a character. I don't know what system this would work for. And plus, I got to find a DN that's dumb.
Heroic?
enough
Played
to
in
be
heroic.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing Eric.
To
Yeah.
have split personalities in one character. I was kind of thinking of doing. I kind of was thinking Pathfinder. Be
No.
hear me out, because I know Pathfinder. I know Bear. I get it. But
Learn
one
other
personality is
system.
like a spellcaster, and the other one's a
Clearly
fighter.
you don't get it because you keep playing Pathfinder.
I like Pathfinder.
Why would you want to play Moon Knight in Pathfinder? That's such the wrong
Because
fucking system. I love
understand-
Pathfinder. That's the wrong one.
Connell,
Let me ask
Connell,
one
you're a
question
cook,
quick.
right?
Yeah,
You're a cook. So I guess you like food. No, so like looking at you.
I'm fat. Yes, I like food.
Wow, man.
What if just somebody that always
I
eat the
knew where
same
this was
fucking
going.
meal? It's like try something else, for fuck's sake. Broaden your palate.
I do
Is that
play
did
other
I say
games.
right?
Yeah.
When it comes
5e.
to building anything in my own head just to make it work, I have to use Pathfinder because I know the engine inside and out.
One
Okay,
or two.
can we stop picking on about Pathfinder and get to the fucking point of this statement?
Would it be feasible to be able? And I know your system. I'm pretty sure there is a way to do it. Would it be feasible
There's a
to
rule
have?
specifically for it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that. I thought it was a cool concept. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to pull this
You
one
could
off?
add in a mental malfunction hitch where he has the triggers set into the mental malfunctions. He could take multiples for different personalities. So when X happens, make a superheroic psyche feat or switch personality. And you can also add a new hitch, which I'm thinking about adding into the rules, which is adding qualifiers to your hitches. Like anyone that requires a save, you can get an extra pick out of it by putting the qualifier not allowed to spend karma. So you took that mental malfunction that has a trigger, but when you roll it, you got to roll it raw. You can't spend karma to jack the fucking success on that. That'll change characters real quick.
Well, if you do want to do use Pathfinder, all the way I would do it, like let's say everyone's level 4. Okay, so you're a level 2 wizard, you're a level 2 fighter. You just have 2 character sheets. You just switch between depending on what personality you have. Like
Yeah.
you get to play 2 classes, but the penalty is basically that you're lower level. You're like each class
Sure.
is like half the level of the actual party.
Yeah.
Which edition of Pathfinder? Because in first edition, being half the level of everyone else, you die immediately.
That's what I was about to say. Like, if you do that in Pathfinder, half level, you have 2 characters that are not viable.
Yeah, depends on what they're dealing with.
When
I just
everyone
think-
else has 37 AC and you have a +6 to hit, like you're
Yeah.
fucked. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, she's got a point. It wasn't so much that I was working through the mechanics of it. I'm like, fuck the mechanics. RP, just role playing it out would be fucking fun as hell. I mean, one moment you're dealing with a Frank fucking Castle, Billy Badass type personality. Then you're dealing, his personality switches over, and it's some fucking mouse-ish character. It's like, no, it freaking out. It's like,
Sorry, was that your role playing?
no, that's just how my head was working. But no,
I mean, if it's just a personality thing, just make your character and play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
What you're
Moon Knight
talking about
Suicide.
in Vampire, we used to refer to this as the Velociraptor Malk, which was basically the Malkavian that had multiple character sheets, and one of them was a fucking insane gangrel. You know what I mean? And they just had multiple different disciplines, and they had the gangrel disciplines. So when they went to that personality, they were the Velociraptor. They got you alone and they killed you. It's lame, it's stupid, it's dumb. Playing the idea of the person with multiple personality disorder who has different personalities take over but doesn't gain anything for it, just they become a different person, so they won't use aspects of their character sheet as opposed to gaining new ones. That's role-playing, buddy.
right.
Because technically your strength isn't unless it's like that movie Split. But your strength isn't going to change or anything.
That was a weird fucking movie. Where he
Ah.
had 36 different personalities in one skull. Jeez.
Yeah.
He's never lonely.
I like that Split movie. I didn't like the last one they did, Glass or whatever it was.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I heard it was so bad, and I'm like,
it was just very anticlimactic.
Yeah, and
It's
I
like
absolutely adore Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
is the
Unbreakable was
best
cool.
superhero movie ever made.
Unbreakable was cool.
good.
I liked Split, and then Glass was very anticlimactic.
Is it Split the one with Cusack?
No,
No,
John
it's-
McAvoy.
It's with the guy from Wanted. I never know his name.
He
John
was
What's the movie with Cusack?
That's
and
right.
the-
John McAvoy.
Yeah.
McAvoy? Yeah, that's-
McCovey.
McAvoy.
Yeah, he played
Professor
Professor
X.
X.
Yeah.
He was Professor X in X-Men First Class.
Yeah, I saw the.
By the way, is the best X-Men movie.
Yeah, I like those X-Men where they're kind of like the more 60s, 70s, 80s.
No,
Yeah.
just the one, First Class, because First Class was an amazing fucking film because no one gave a shit about X-Men. X-Men was dying after the fourth one they did. No one gave a fuck anymore. So they made X-Men First Class, and everybody was like, yeah, do what you want. We don't care. He made an amazing movie, and what happens? Immediately, Bryan Singer activates a clause in his contract to take back over the franchise and then proceed to
Oh.
make his shitty movies.
Yeah.
And they were shitty.
Yeah. Days
Cinema
of
is
Future
dead.
Past was all right.
What?
Days of Future Past was all right.
It was mediocre.
I like Quicksilver. and
That's
those-
what all right means.
Like that's my like out of like the two Quicksilvers, because you got the MCU one that fucking shit, and then you got the Quicksilver from that one. Like I love that Quicksilver.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
Quicksilver was cool the way
Yeah.
they did it.
There was some good stuff in Days
Yeah.
of Future Past, but overall it was mid. It was very
Yeah.
mid.
For a long.
The focus on Wolverine did it.
Well,
No, it's
Does anybody
comics
like
accurate.
Wolverine?
It's comics accurate. We're focusing on
Logan was
Wolverine.
good.
Yeah.
Little men love Wolverine, dear.
Logan was good.
well
Yeah,
okay.
Logan
Here,
was awesome.
I always
Is he
had,
just a
I-
short
from-
man tower fantasy?
No, I just like the character. He's one of my
Oh.
favorite.
Really, what
comic
is it you
book
like about the character? Please describe the character traits that you find.
Misery.
The
Him
Misery?
being- The misery.
The misery is what.
He's the
draws
only
you to
person in
Wolverine.
all of X-Men who's not happy.
Yeah.
Not true.
I'm a
Well-
simple man. I like gruff badasses. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's because you're gay.
No,
Uh,
you're gay.
I'm a Nightcrawler
You're an
fan.
actor.
so-
You're the gay one. You acted.
Don't get me wrong. I
Fucking
like.
in, like
I
the
like
Voice of Venice
Gambit.
Beach, whatever the fuck movies you've been in.
Let's see. Gambit,
You're
Nightcrawler.
You're the gay one.
Yeah.
You acted. That.
I would have thought that you were more into Gambit, Victor.
Yes. What's
I like-
gayer, acting
like
or taking it up the butt?
I
Hey boy, man, that's a tough one.
It's a fine line there, nerds. It's a fine line.
also you brought up Gambit. I actually like what's his face's Gambit in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Like when they finally
Channing
got his
Tatum?
suit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually thought Channing Tatum as Gambit was awesome.
Well, he's going to be back. They're bringing him back in.
I remember-
Doomsday.
as I was going to say, when I saw the first X-Men movie, I'm like, Hugh Jackman is way too fucking tall to be comic book
Yeah.
actor. Wolverine.
Yeah,
and that was always my bitch. Then I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, then they had the comic book accuracy version. I'm like, yep, I'm just going to shut up now. I'm done.
I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I love that movie. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill as Wolverine? I
Yeah.
was like, God damn, yes, please.
Yeah.
Like, can you just make him Wolverine for the new movies, please?
I got
He
big-
needs to be
so
like, he needs to be
fucking
Wolverine. He needs to be
good.
James Bond. He needs to be like all sorts of people.
Nah,
Yeah,
He's one
he's
of those
fucking
actors.
tired.
Henry
Yeah.
Cavill is one of those actors where it's like,
Yeah.
just cat.
Yeah.
But no,
Like-
instead, Pedro Pascal gets to be in everything.
Yeah,
When
fuck that.
Are we going to accept that Pedro Pascal is not who they think Pedro Pascal is?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess
He
the
is
next
not
James
Reed
Bond is
Richards.
gonna. The next James Bond is gonna be Pedro Pascal or fucking Zendaya. Let's be
No,
honest.
the next, they've actually, I think I don't know if
Victor,
it's
did I ever tell
official.
you? All right, go ahead, Connell.
I don't know if it's completely official, but I think,
You having a
Mark,
stroke?
no,
Yes.
just having a long fucking day. Henry is going to be the next James Bond.
Well,
That's not official.
That's not. No.
That's why I said I don't think it's official, but that's
he
So
was like one of
Victor-
the guys that tested for it. Yeah, go ahead, so
Victor, I tell you what my
You-
problem with the Dune movies was.
Zendaya.
Yeah, everybody else in the movie sounds like they're 10,000 years in the future
Yeah.
and speaking in a weird way. Zendaya sounds like she's from Brooklyn.
She's fucking one that they fucking try to force down her throat, and it's like, who the fuck like her? No, like,
Yeah.
no
I
fucking
just
body
think-
like her.
No,
I did
listen,
not like
if I
her in the
met at
Spider-Man
a
movies.
party and I was age appropriate, I would be all about her. Like, she's fucking hot to me. That's my kind of hot. But
Okay.
as an actress, she sucks.
She
Like,
always has
you
the
know-
same cranky face, and I just hate what they did with Chani. She ruined the
Oh,
second Doom movie for me completely. Like I hated what they did with that character.
Well,
I hate all of a sudden he was just like a complete bitch to Paul and didn't believe in him. And it's like, oh no, you're not the Messiah. I'm gonna like blah blah blah. blah. Like no, that's completely the opposite of what they did in the book.
Shani was fucking ride or die.
Yeah.
I just
And it
want
was
to
like
say,
her idea for him.
Hang
for
on,
Paul
Malachi
to,
wants to say something. Everyone sit back, get ready, prepare yourself for the pearl of wisdom. Nerd Nerd, be sure to write this in the sacred scrolls of Malachi. Go ahead.
I think like Cavill would be great in just about any role because he's going to respect the what the character is.
All right, cool.
Like-
Henry Cavill as Winston Churchill.
I think he could do
Why
it.
not?
Really? You think Henry Cavill could play a convincing Winston
I mean,
Churchill?
Did you watch Penguin? Did you watch
He
Penguin?
did a great British thing before.
Hey.
They can do a lot with fat suits these days.
Yeah, Branch Rickey. He was a general manager of the Dodgers when they signed Jackie Robinson in '42. He was played by Harrison Ford. I did not think Harrison Ford could have pulled it off, but he did.
playing Jackie Robinson.
No, he
Harrison
played
Ford?
Branch Rickey.
I was going to say Harrison Ford played Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, no, that was
I would have.
Chadwick.
I wouldn't thought you could pull it. I want to
Jesus
see that
Christ.
now.
How has he not
No.
been canceled?
No, but
No,
I mean,
no,
like,
fucking
why
funny.
did
You know,
Not
like
disappointing.
a fucking Hollywood studio with a sense of humor would make that fucking movie.
but
I still think
why?
my favorite picture ever is that one fucking meme because as a redhead, I feel this thing, which was basically they show the picture of the Redhead Festival in Ireland, and they go
Oh,
every year in Ireland, 10,000 or 100,000 redheads get together, and then underneath that they put a picture of Mogadishu, and they said the Netflix movie of it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
yep.
seen the they have
That had
there's the meme where they show every redhead that was replaced.
The
Yes,
ginger side.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
why
why
I'm
would
surprised. There's actually a ginger playing Jimmy Olsen in the new Superman movie.
Yeah. That's always so funny
I-
to me because it's like we got to replace this redhead because of diversity and like all that stuff. Like redheads are like the most like rare
Less
like thing in
Then
the world.
4% of the
Yeah.
world population. Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
Riggs.
But I thought that. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused here because I thought gingers didn't show up on film, and that's why they replaced them.
And they don't show up in mirrors either.
It's all digital now,
Luckily
anyways.
for them.
It's very easy to confuse us for vampires. We don't like to go out in the sun. We tend to stay up at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Henry Cavill's not involved in the Warhammer series now.
Yeah.
Is he or is he not?
He's
Yeah,
not.
Yeah, he's not.
he's
No,
not
this is just
anymore?
recently, within the last like couple months.
I thought he was
Oh,
making it.
No. In the past couple of weeks, he's already said that he's still involved with the project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's on and off and off again, right? Just like on and again and off again. It's like it's
Yeah, because I'm sorry, but if he's not involved, it's gonna tank. Just like what was this Netflix show he was in?
Witcher.
Witcher, yeah, The Witcher. He's gone. They tank.
He was the best part.
It hasn't come out yet. You don't know if it's going to tank. Let it come out first.
No, it's going to tank. It's 2025.
You don't know. It could be amazing.
It's 2025.
Why?
Oh, holy shit!
Wait,
Forrest Brothers, the best Geralt ever. You don't know
why was he fired from The Witcher?
because he was having a fight with the lesbian director.
Because he
Because they
wanted to
weren't
do-
following the books.
Of course.
Because
He
he was
spoke up.
fighting with the showrunner who was trying to
Yeah.
force an agenda into
Yep.
the show.
yeah.
and that's also why he was always like, "Oh, I'm not involved with Warhammer anymore. I am again. I'm not again."
Yeah.
Like, because it's fighting with the people that want to push agenda, right? For whatever reason.
Have any of you guys had a chance to see the Kevin Bacon Bondman?
Yeah, I'm on episode 4 right now. I was supposed to watch more today, but then my friends bailed on me. But it's a fun
What
show.
show?
I like that. Bondsman with
Bondsman.
Kevin Bacon. He's like a demon hunting bounty hunter. It's fun.
What's going on?
You know that
Modern
old show Brimstone? It's kind of like that.
It kind of remind me of RIP, PD,
Yeah.
or Rust.
R.I.P.D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only
It's a fun
better.
Man, October 7th really changed
Which is
the
not
dawn that
Zachary
we can
High
have
Bar.
a theory like that now. Sorry. Oh, you were live. Sorry, that was too far.
What did you
I'm
say?
gonna stop. No, I'm not saying back.
Well,
I'm not
we're
saying
leaving
that
it
again.
alone.
You already said it once. It's on record.
Yeah, but I mumbled it anyway, so
Yeah. It was
We're
some
live,
French
Mr.
nonsense.
Max.
You mumble everything.
It was some French gobbledygook. It's fine.
Yeah, I got some bad
Forget
food
about it.
industry there, mush mouth.
yeah, the mush mouth thing, you know. Yeah, I don't know why I like it so much mouth. My tongue's too big.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
you know.
the problem.
That's the whole chromosome thing.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
You have a chromag tongue. All the better to suck the Neanderthal dick with.
Hey, I'm 5% Neanderthal.
That explains the small dick. Hey,
Oh,
Full circle.
Victor knows.
Hungar!
yeah.
well, yeah.
Let's
like,
kick Malachi out and get Hungar in here.
I'm probably going to
Definitely
leave
do
soon
it.
anyway, so Hunger can take my spot.
There you go.
My friend's
It's
waiting on
warm
me.
and all. Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it like
Bondsman.
5 in
I
the
mean-
morning where you at?
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay on too much later. It's after midnight here, and I have I have a new rule on Friday nights because I have to get up for work at 5:30 in the morning during the week, and if I stay too late on this shit, it fucks up my whole weekend sleep schedule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's me.
Fair
Well,
enough.
If Hungar's coming in, I'll stay for a while. I haven't talked to him in a
Yeah, if
while.
Hungar comes in, I'll stick around for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hunger,
11
come in
o'clock
here. You can
is
take
my
my spot.
hard max.
I'll leave.
No one can
Oh,
take
yeah.
your spot, Victor. They can only sit in your chair.
That is
Yep.
true. I'm keeping it warm for Hunger.
It's a small chair, though.
Do I
Yeah.
have
No,
him
I
on
actually have
my
a huge chair. You
Discord?
can see.
Yeah.
His ass is very wide.
I
It's
feel like
how
a
he-
lazy boy. Yeah.
It's just because you're very small.
Yes, that's true. I'm a hobbit.
He's not. Well, that's the worst part. He's not Connell sized.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually pretty tall, but my
Oh,
camera
is that your
phone is
pink
really high.
face? Aw.
But is it Connell volume though?
All right, give him the link, Victor. Love
Yeah.
you, man. See you next
Yep.
time. Good
I'll
to
see you guys later. Have fun.
Actually, I was about to
Good
say
seeing you.
I don't have him on my Discord. I would have shot
Oh,
him.
for the
on
love
my-
of Jesus,
I'll
Mary!
send it to,
Someone give Hungar the fucking link. Because
Bye.
Connell-
Okay, give me a second. I should be able to do it right now. On guard, don't move.
Keep narrating everything you do right now. It's hilarious.
I'm turning my mouse wheel to scroll. On guard, did I never fucking message you in my
I'm
life?
moving the cursor to the other screen. I'm clicking the button.
Control C. I have copied the link.
I already did it.
You already did? Oh, you better than me. I guess I never did I never fucking write to Ongar ever on Discord?
Yeah, I was like, how do I
Pickle
not
was
have
in
him?
his Discord. He's pretty high up on that one.
Fucking Discord sucks. Let's just be honest.
Oh yeah, fucking
It's
hate
better.
it. Man.
It's everybody's on it. I mean, it's between that and Gilded for me right
I think
now.
Gilded is a superior product. There is like nobody's Gilded I've ever been on that I want to be on. Hey, Hungar.
What is up, guys?
Hey, Hunger.
Hey,
Good.
Hey, Hungar.
How you been?
I had no intentions of coming on until everybody's like, Hungar, yeah, come in.
I had no intentions of coming on.
I'm like laying in bed.
And I was in.
Everybody wanted to say hi, which is cool.
Yeah.
I go into pure pressure very easily.
Cool. Everybody tell Hungar
You don't
he has to
say.
pay me
It's not hard.
$1,000.
It's not hard to get me to do things.
Mr.
Yeah.
Max has the same problem.
Me? Oh no, man. It's very hard for it to get me to do things.
Yeah, like produce a game when you give him a great name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's going well though. Like I'm pretty advanced on the character creation now. What?
Hungar has been
You went full robot, Hungar.
Yeah.
Never go full robot.
Never go full robot.
Yeah, don't be like that Superman movie.
Oh man, that was traumatizing when I saw that as a youth.
Same.
Yeah. Superman
movie,
3.
Man.
I mean, RoboCop.
Superman 3.
What movie?
Superman
with,
3.
was that
When
Firefly?
the chicks is getting absorbed in the machine and she's turning into a robot.
Superman.
Yeah,
3.
Superman.
Superman 3.
Superman 3.
Superman 3.
Superman 3.
I've never seen Superman Tree. What's that movie?
He has a ladle of justice. I can see this.
But he's a tree.
He's a tree.
Yeah. It's
You know the joke, eh? Why is the
He is the
Frenchman gonna count
Lorax.
to
He
4?
speaks for the trees.
You heard the
Yeah.
joke, Bear? Why does Frenchman cannot count to 4? Because there's a tree in the way.
Because there's a tree in the way.
Is this any better?
A little bit.
Sounds better.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, for now. It's the duration that's the challenge.
Ms. Mom, I've
That
been
sounded
having
most bad.
issues with my internet all day today.
It sucks, dude.
Yeah, they've been working on it.
Where are you at now? You in Kentucky?
No, I'm in Tennessee still.
Tennessee. Oh, Tennessee. Sorry, I missed.
It's the
Depends on
same
what part of
thing.
Tennessee. Internet's not really a thing.
Kentucky, Tennessee. It's all the same shit.
It pretty good. Frickin' hillbilly land.
Appalachian American.
Ding, ding, ding.
How do you do the chicken there? Fried?
That's how I eat my chicken everywhere, man.
Right?
It's a stupid joke, Bear. Come on, it's very
Fried
fucking
chicken.
low.
Fried chicken. Yeah, shit, I don't joke around when it comes to fried chicken. Come on, don't you know me better than that?
When you want to fuck them in Tennessee, because if they see you coming, they're going to attack.
Fried
That's how we
chicken,
do the chicken in Tennessee.
fried okra, some cornbread, and some greens.
Push back to the back of the head,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I will say, I once had a friend who considered both Kentuckians and Tennessee folk, whatever the fucking word, Tennesseans.
Tennesseans.
They were
Tennessee folks.
they were yuppie upper class folks to my my buddy from West Virginia.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
West Virginia is like super.
Well, yeah, West Virginia.
That's the poorest state in the union, no? Until Canada become a state, obviously. Then Canada.
No, each one of your provinces is going to be its own state. We're not going to have
Oh
one
no,
huge
you,
state.
that-
you
that's
got
not gonna help.
Missouri somewhere in that listing between Canada and
We're not going to give Canadians equal rights once they're a state. That's ridiculous. It's going to be one state, and they're going to get 3/5 of a vote.
We wouldn't
Probably
understand
should
how
have
these
like
matter
a-
because we don't have equal rights as provinces in Canada,
Yeah.
so we're used to that.
Oh, it's actually not.
Quebec,
West
we do
Virginia's
have a
on
bit
the
more.
list.
what?
The
Western,
Quebec province, like you said, like we don't have like equal right as province in Canada, but Quebec got a little bit more.
Yeah, Quebec did the fucking I swear to fuck, I will never understand how Quebec pulled this shit off. Like, fucking strategists should be studying how Quebec was able to fucking pull this shit off. Like, literally, just sat there and go, "We're leaving." No, have shit. We're still leaving. Have more shit. Here, have Alberta's shit. Like, that was the best move. Here,
No, we're gonna give you the money, Alberta's money. Just-
here, have
Okay, then maybe.
$1.8 billion a year from Alberta. Like, fuck, no wonder Alberta wants to leave the country now. Like, fuck, man.
I've
Silly.
actually not been I have not been following that.
Now you guys want Quebec because you want our hydro. That's why you want Quebec. Because if we turn off the fucking electricity, your entire eastern seaboard goes dark.
Well,
I'm
yeah, I
honestly
mean,
surprised you guys haven't pulled the plug as of yet with the shenanigans.
Well, there's
Also-
this little thing called, what is it? Oh, yeah, the American Army.
There is that.
And we're pretty sure if we pulled the plug as a negotiating tactic, we would be occupied the next
Also,
morning.
we make a lot of money by selling you the electricity. Like we sell them for
Yeah,
more expensive than we do.
well, I
And we
mean,
made a stupid deal where we're not allowed to sell our own electricity to our own people cheaper than we sell it to you two.
Canada's got the best border wall ever. It's called America.
And yet we still have Mexicans here.
Well,
Man, you got Mexicans everywhere.
well, I mean, it doesn't help when they shut down 3 Mile Island.
Yeah,
Mexican,
that was keeping all the Mexicans out now.
Well, no, I meant with the electricity on the East Coast. Sorry.
Yeah, shut down 3 Mile Island. Get rid of the Mexicans.
yeah,
Shut down the tree.
Go ahead, nerds. I know you want to say something.
Mexican are like my fucking worry. Like if I go to dive bar, right, and I come in at one night and it's full of Mexican, I'm gonna fucking drink with them and have a blast, right? They're like, I cannot say that from all people. It's like, Mexican are the least of my worries. It's like
Mexicans know how to have a party.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I'll
Get
tell
along
you
well.
my experience. Iraqis and Mexicans are like the two most fun group of people in the world.
Oh,
They know
really?
how to
Iraqis?
fucking have fun. Oh yeah, there's no fucking party like an Iraqi party. Like they throw down hard. You'll have the most delicious food you've ever had in your life. There will be music. It will go for 3 days straight before everyone passes out.
yeah, the good thing about the thing about Mexicans over Iraqis, those Mexicans don't randomly explode.
Well,
I mean,
Well, that's just because our border funding isn't high enough yet.
But nah, it's like I've been to a couple of Mexican birthday parties, and I'll tell you what, I've never had so much fun. And if you like tacos, and who doesn't, that's where to go.
I had fucking some tacos today. It's actually
I've actually, I've been to a few Mexican birthday parties and New Year's Eve parties and had a great fucking time. I've never, don't think I know any Iraqis, to be honest. I wouldn't know, So if that ever happens, I'm looking forward to that. Thanks, Nerd.
what?
Yeah, nothing.
I have no fucking idea.
I just need
I'm
Malachi to start talking again because it takes the heat off my dumbass.
I know when my parents owned a catering company, they did some parties for the Saudi Arabian royal family, and those guys really cut loose every chance they got. The Saudis, I mean,
So when you own the planet,
they'd bring a whole damn goat and behead it right there. Stick the goat right on
the studies.
the table. They went hog wild.
So, okay, you know how like in Southeast Asia, everybody hates the Koreans? And in North America, everybody hates the Americans.
I hate the
And
Koreans.
in Europe, everybody hates the English. Guess who everybody in the Middle East hates without fucking hesitation?
The Saudis.
Saudis. They fucking hate the Saudis.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna go there.
The Kurd thing weirds me out. They fucking all hate the Kurds, yet they revere Saladin. And Saladin was a Kurd. Like,
Yeah, but
it's so weird.
It's a different time nowadays, right? The
It's like,
allegiance thing.
Mexicans, but that Santa Anna, that was a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still
Yeah,
the
it's
case.
like-
they hate the
but-
Kurds because the Kurds were the U.S.'s best allies. I mean,
Mhm.
before
Like-
we fucked them over
yeah.
the third or fourth time. But
You can have people like hating the French but admiring Napoleon, right? Just like
Yeah, no, everybody just hates the French dude.
Yeah, nobody admires Napoleon or like the French. I want to learn the French.
even the French hate the French.
I want to learn
Seriously.
French just so I can refuse to speak it.
Oh,
How to
okay.
stop.
Repeat after me. Je ne parle pas français.
Je ne parle français.
Je ne parle pas français.
Motherfucker misses double negation.
Français.
So I used to my old landlady. She used to teach English in Japan, and she speaks fluent Japanese. Like she's really really good in Japanese. When she was in Japan in the 90s or whatever it was, or the late 80s, she walked up to this person on the street and asked them in Japanese, "Excuse me, can you tell me where the subway station is? Because she needed to get somewhere." And the person looked her up and down, and in Japanese said, "Oh, I don't speak English," and walked away.
It's like that Simon Pegg skit that he did, where he's riding. It's an old skit when he was on like one of the TV shows. He's riding his bicycle, and this woman's at stop.
Do you speak English? No, sorry, I don't. No, I don't speak English. No.
She tries French and German. He's like, no.
Nine. Yeah.
I think Noro did something like that.
Hey, Gami. And I'm Shen.
Are you channeling? What the fuck was that, dude?
There you go. It's English. And I'm Sen. I don't speak. There you go, and I'm Sen.
I speak.
Is this the language you and the twin you ate in the womb made up? What the fuck is this? What are you
Japanese.
saying? Oh, that didn't sound like Japanese, dude.
There you go, and I'm Sen.
Yeah, but you speak Japanese with a French accent, French Canadian accent, so it's all messed up.
It's easier than English for us, actually.
I make the seppuku.
So how's everybody? I haven't seen Bear in hours.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
So anybody watch the Minecraft movies?
Not yet, but it's making a lot of fucking money.
It is?
Yeah, well,
I heard
Doing well.
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Well,
I've seen
everything's beating out Off-White and the 7 diversity hires.
Yeah. I've seen the Minecraft movie. And
Watching her destroy
movie.
her career
Yeah.
has been epic.
In real time.
Like holy fuck! Like that expression, "she girl boss too close to the sun," fits perfectly for her.
Between her and Dinklage.
I think it will be fun.
I think Dinklage can still get role.
Well, I mean,
No,
because
I mean-
what?
What?
This movie is also partially Dinklage's fault because he.
Yeah, but
really
okay,
grabbed-
only you, drunk Thanksgiving uncle, give a fuck about shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nobody
that's
cares
the
about
point.
what Dinklage said.
No one else
Well,
gives a fuck.
He did with the dwarves.
But that's the thing. Like Dinklage can still like Dinklage is not gonna have his career armed by
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah.
Except that he could still act if they would be willing to be cast as a dwarf again. But now he kind of don't want to do that. But like, man, you're not gonna be cast as Wolverine, right? Even though he's supposed to be short in the comic.
That would be
He
some funny
fuck.
shit, though.
I'd cast him as Puck.
That should have been in the like. But Dinklage
I
doesn't seem
would
to have a sense of
definitely
humor
go
about
see
it.
Peter Dinklage as Wolverine. I would go see
But
that movie.
That would have been fucking funny in the Wolverine and Deadpool, right? Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine in those multiverse. I think Dinklage as Wolverine that would have been great.
I just want to know in what universe that chick is better looking than Gal Gadot. Why in the world would Gal Gadot be jealous of her?
Wow, no,
Well-
you have to understand it cannot be about physical beauty because that's fucking objectifying women.
And furthermore, Gal Gadot couldn't act her way out of a fucking wet paper. Okay, Zendaya is a better actress than fucking Gal Gadot. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not saying
Gal Gadot
she's
is better
better.
looking.
I just said she's better looking.
No. She's insanely beautiful. Gal Gadot has that one thing Israeli women have. When they're hot, they're fucking smoke shows. Like, it's like Newfoundland. You guys don't know that because you're in the States, but for the Canadians, Newfoundland, like, when a fucking Newfie chick is hot, she's like, well, fuck Natasha Henstridge. It's from Newfoundland.
That's a big that's a big caveat. When they're hot,
When? Yeah. When they're not, ooh.
they're rough.
You know?
You say that about
But
fucking
man,
redheads,
when
though.
they are, it's Shannon Tweed.
It's like,
It's Natasha Henstridge.
What fucking caused that gap, right? What is like there's like 9 and 10s, and 5 and below, right? What happened to the fucking mid? Why they cannot have mids?
That's called Irish blood, sir.
It's like the mix of Vietnamese and Americans. They're either extremely hot or just like, ew, what happened to you?
Yeah, most pure-blooded people have that problem. Like most people that don't have a lot of genetic diversity have that issue. Smoking hot or fuck no. Whereas you get mixed people like the French Canadians, like there's no denying how many beautiful women you'll see in Quebec on a fucking
That-
average summer day.
And freaking big
When you start going abroad, right? It's like it's a fucking shock at some point. I come from Saguenay, right? Where like people are like women there are known to be very very fucking hot too, right?
Yeah.
Very small place, and they would send like the king would send like fucking beautiful woman there to
Filles du roi.
mate the filles du roi, right? It was a
Yeah.
thing, right? But and then when you move to elsewhere, right? When somebody it's like, man, people are fucking ugly around here. Let's realize, no, you just been spoiled, motherfucker.
Yeah, you
Like I
get
was
these-
telling my friend, like, no, the woman where I come from are so fucking hot and didn't believe me. I changed like I went on Tinder, changed my location to over there, and I showed him, say like, okay, fuck off, man. She would
Yeah,
move
no,
there.
it's insane. The Nuette, no, oof.
and the
Right
guys end up looking like freaking big ass Vikings with red hair.
Oh, no.
Certain Mr.
Yeah.
Max we know.
Listen. Quebecois men is exactly the same thing as Russian men. You ever notice how really smoking hot Russian women can be? Like you see a lot of smoking hot Russian women, and then you see the guys they're with, and they all look like fucking toes in t-shirts. You know what I mean? They're just like, wow. And they have like a fucking 10 on their arm. It's the same thing in Quebec.
I
There
can't
are
think.
good-looking Quebec men. There are. But most of them look like thumbs in a fucking
can't
sweater. You know what I
Think
mean?
of her name, but there was this Russian tennis player back in the early 2000s, blonde. She ended up
Oh,
getting
that
married.
narrows the fuck down.
Who was she got? She got married to-
Navratilova?
Yeah, I think that's her name. Fucking smoke show. Jesus Christ.
Don't know who that
And
is.
you have to. No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, all the Russian tennis players are freaking hot.
No,
We get to know Gene King. And it's like, oh yay.
Martina Navratilova. Ooh.
Yeah, Martina.
What was her name? Chris Everett. Chris Everett was like the hottest female tennis player in the history of the U.S. And it's like,
I don't know. That dude,
Nicola?
oh,
Bruce.
Bruce is losing.
Yeah, hello,
Who
Bruce.
gets to drop out so Bruce can come in and yell about Nancy Pelosi for a while?
I will drop out because I'm going to bed.
Oh. All right, Hungar. Miss you, buddy.
Good night, Ungar.
miss you, bud.
And I'll be doing my show on Tuesday at 7 this week.
All right. 7 in the morning or 7 in the evening?
In the evening, you jackass. I'm not going to be.
I have to ask some of these fuckers I bounced into. It's like, I'm having a show at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you what?
I am
that would
not
be
my
you,
brother.
Mom.
I know.
Mom,
Well, you're
that
not.
would be you.
I've woken up to my phone going off saying, Bear's having a show. And it's like, it's fucking 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I get
especially
up
when
for
it's
work.
after these shows. When the after show goes super fucking late, or we hop on here and we go to bed, and like 5 hours later, he's doing his fucking coffee with Bear, and I'm like, what the fuck? Aren't you like
Yeah, that was
let
the
that old
message I
people
got
sleep
one
in? What
morning
is
from
happening?
her.
Somehow,
I got this message from her one morning. It's like, what the fuck are you awake? I'm like,
All right, guys. Peace, love, and chicken grease, like they say in France. Allah Akbar.
Good hearing from you, Hungar.
Take care, Ungar.
See ya. It's great talking to you.
All right, give Bruce the link so he can come in.
I already did that.
Do we have to?
You know, 3 o'clock
Yeah,
might be
we
late,
need to
but
hear about whatever fucking bug is up Bruce's ass today.
I was about to say 3 o'clock might be late, but still reasonable on the weekend. 6 o'clock in the fucking morning, Monday
Yeah.
morning. It's like, what the
I
fuck?
get up at 5:30. Fuck.
Oh, so do I. I
Not-
get it. Well, sometimes, most of the time, I get up that early. I get it. It's just like, give me my tea.
Wait, Malak, you want to say something?
No, I get up at 5 in the morning.
Okay.
Why you do that?
Good to see your beautiful face, Bruce.
Yeah.
I love you, nerd.
Speaking of men who look like thumbs
Hold on
in
a minute.
sweaters. What's up, Bruce?
Hey,
Hey, Bruce.
everybody, how's everyone doing?
Are you still rocking the Musketeer stash? Oh no, you're full goatee. Went full
Yeah.
goatee. How you doing, Bruce? Been a while since I talked to you.
Goatee?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Goatee.
It's been a while.
Goatee.
Goatee.
Earlier today,
This isn't a
Yes.
goatee. This is a
Did
fucking
their job. And
No, but he got a goatee.
No, that's Van Dyke.
Bones, the entire bone
Oh, you're
stick
right.
that they released.
How much did that put you back?
I fucking hate bones.
Oh, I
You
love
fucking
the
hate bones?
Well, yeah, we
new
know that
ones.
you're married to a woman.
Oh, that's better than I was about to do.
And here's the finished figures.
Bones are all right.
I don't
To
get
be
many
fair-
of you nerds, but that was a good one.
To be fair, I was thinking it, but I know better than to say it.
No, that
Nobody
was
believes
literally
you,
the
O'Connell.
joke.
She can't shoulder block you.
Oh no, she can shoulder block Connell, man. His center of gravity is really low.
He's taller than me. He
No,
doesn't
the
say
bones
it.
minis suck. I spray primed them all and I painted them up and they looked fucking great. And I went down and kneaded them a month later and they were all slimy and sticky and shit. 'Cause
Yep.
the fucking plastic melted.
Oh,
No,
really?
it's because the primer does not finish right on
You
the.
have to wash them first.
Bye,
No,
Bear.
There it is.
It's,
That's my cue to go to bed. You guys
I
are
was about to say bye, Bear.
it's
Bye, Bear.
it's something in the aerosol does not cure properly on the bone.
Malachi, say
No,
goodbye.
it's something in the
You
bones
fucking
mini that sucks ass.
spurgoid.
Bye, Bear.
Bye, Max. Bye, Malachi.
Bear.
Bye,
Bruce.
Bear.
Bye, Connell. Nerds, always a pleasure.
But also, like, you don't have to prime the bone technically, and
Yeah,
also you could do it if you do it with a. No, you could put like a paint directly on it because like the type of plastic.
They look like shit
Yeah.
when you do that. I tried it.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
mine
true.
came out great when I did that.
But you can also like
You have low standards.
if you prime them with airbrush, you don't have this problem.
Yeah, airbrush or paint
So
on
stop
primer
being
works
poor.
fine.
Look at a fucking airbrush. Stop fucking around. Where you
Here's
where
the
you
bones
playing?
figure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where?
Is that a dinosaur?
This is the Mal Drakkar, but I painted up like the old cartoon figure. So,
E-Man?
and hasn't started having problems with the paint adhering to the surface. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Also, like maybe my figure might have that problem because I paint them, then I put them away, never look at them again.
Yeah, I've got
first-
shelves downstairs that are just painted minis that I'm like, I'm totally gonna make it. I'm gonna make a Dark Elf army for 1-page rules and for Warhammer Fantasy, and I paint the whole fucking army, and then it goes on a shelf and it sits there for 6 years.
I don't play with miniature. I just like painting them, so I never touch them again once they're done. Just like they're in a box. Paint and forget. That's my style.
I paint and I use them a lot.
Yeah. Well,
When I first started
There we
painting
go.
figs, I didn't know I had to prime
That E-Man?
the miniature for the paint to actually sit on it. So I
I'll have to get
painted it, and I sat down. I did a really good job. Came back about a week later, and the paint was just like singing around the fucking miniature. I was so fucking pissed. I'm like, okay, what did I fucking do wrong? Oh wait, you have to prime these.
Yes and no.
So if you
oh,
get
no.
if you use these, the MSPs from Reaper, typically these adhere really well to the bones I found.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
I like
using
this
like fucking Apple Barrel paint. I was using
Oh
Walmart.
man.
Yeah, you have to thin those
Yeah.
heavily.
And those fucking pigmen are too big for a miniature.
I didn't know. I just, like I said, I just got into it and went
Yeah.
into both feet jump in. I'm like, well, I got a
You
handful.
got
of
into it blind, right? You didn't fucking do any research or anything. You know, like, have you read about this thing they call the internet?
Like,
yes,
he didn't not do research. Like, it wasn't a choice of his to not do research.
Yeah.
no, it was just, hey, how hard can this be to paint? Well, being colorblind, it was a little bit of a fucking trick, but it is what it is.
You're
When I was a
colorblind
lad.
too. God damn, who did you piss off before you were born?
The only color I see, I shit you not, the only color I see is red. I don't see anything else. I mean, black, white, gray, that shit. But an actual fucking color, shut up. The actual fucking color wheel does nothing for me.
So you're fucking living like in this scene from Schindler's List, right? Or whatever, like, or
I like to think I live in more in a what was that movie? Sin City type world. Thank you. Less, poor people getting shipped off on a train. Don't give me that look, nerd.
I'm trying really hard not to.
Hey, Sin Cities was an alright movie.
Better than the sequel. The sequel sucked.
I tried
like
to watch
Dark
the sequel
Phoenix.
like not too long. I couldn't make it. Like I made like fucking 10 minutes, and I said, "Man, that fucking sucks."
I like
Try
Dark
so
City
hard.
a lot better.
Yeah, actually, the closest thing, the closest
I guess they have
show-
a word in the title that is uncommon.
right. I think
They're
the
both have
closest
seen in the
movie
title.
I've ever seen that's similar enough to what my vision is. It's a god awful movie. It's called The Spirit. It had Samuel Jackson in it.
Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
Oh, you should watch Rumblefish. The movie's in black and white with some color in there, like some dashing color in there. But it's also about a story of a guy that's colorblind.
I'll look
So,
into it. I mean,
Rumble
all
Fish,
movies
it's a
to me
good
are black and white. So
What?
Did you like The Outsiders? Because it's set in the same universe as The Outsiders.
What movie?
Rumblefish.
Really?
Yep.
Never
The
heard of that.
Outsiders with like Patrick Swayze.
Pat Swayze, Tom Cruise, Ralph Macchio.
Okay, okay. I'm just making
Really?
sure. I'm like,
That
know,
was a
I
good
need to
movie.
watch
and
that.
a
I never
good
saw
book.
that. Huh.
That's a
You wrote
movie that
BS.
every man should see.
oh,
Yeah.
God, I had to read the book twice in high school. Yeah, in high school I had to read the fucking book twice.
I
You
read
read a
it
book
in junior
twice in high school?
high.
Yeah. Well, the teacher, the book of the teacher, I just came over from Ireland, and the teacher's like, "Well, we're gonna read some book." I'm like, "I already fucking read that book." Well, then tell me what it's about. Blah 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 blah. Well, then read this. I'm like, Outsiders. Isn't this the old fucking 80s movie? Yeah, yeah. Okay. The next semester, she has a class reading it. I'm like, I just fucking read this.
So you didn't have to read it twice. You could just have remembered.
Yeah, but I was drinking heavily back then.
Oh,
In middle school.
He just said he came back from Ireland.
so what he's saying is he was effectively a teetotaler Irishman.
Yeah.
So-
That always busts my balls. Welcome to America, the land of the free. You have more freedoms here than anywhere else. By the way, we know you're drinking over in Ireland because the drinking age is lower, but here you have to wait till you're 21.
That's retarded, right?
you can drink with your family in certain
Depends on the state.
Yeah, that's true.
And I
We
always
didn't
thought
really
they
care
came
in my
back the ass
family.
word.
I have to say, of all the fucking things that America has done horribly to immigrants, raising the drinking age is pretty fucking low on that like ranking.
Oh
list.
yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. It just fucking sucks.
Wait. When you say low, you mean like not as bad, or you mean like the worst? Because that's a low blow,
But for
right?
the Irish, it was the worst, but that's in their
Yeah.
blood. For everyone else, it's not so bad.
I
Nobody
still
does.
love.
French. Everybody fucking drinks. Drinking is part of your, like, what define a culture more than your alcohol of choice? You can think
The
of any
shape
fucking
of their
country.
weapons.
The shape of somewhat, but less than the flavor of alcohol. And when you come to American, what you think, like, what define them like alcohol wise is not the alcohol they drink, is that the fact they cannot drink before 21. Like everybody, right?
At that time, I'm in Peoria, Illinois. The most popular beer that's going through the high school is not even fucking beer. It's called Pabst. It's 99% piss and 1% water.
The Blue Ribbon beer.
And I'm like, hey, have it. The fuck
Yeah.
is this? And they're like, it's beer. I'm like, that's not beer. We
I
want
have to laugh
Budweiser?
about Guinness, because when I was in Germany, that Guinness was almost like syrup. And they come here in the US like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. No.
That's something like when I go to the US, right? I tried like local thing, right? Everything is too sweet. First of all, like, stop putting fucking sugar in every fucking thing, man. Not
Yeah.
every fucking food has to be candy, for fuck's sake. Like,
Yeah.
you have like other fucking taste bud than just fucking
Mhm.
sweet, right?
When your
So then I
fucking
go-
bread is basically cake,
Yeah.
like something
Yes.
is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I try to get some beer, right? And I say I'm gonna go with a fucking, like, I'm gonna drink Heineken, right? I'm not a big fan of Heineken, but that's German beer. It's something it's a known factor, right? And drinkable, right? It's different in the U.S. than it is elsewhere.
It's horrible
You
here.
got Heineken beer made in Mexico, sold in the U.S., branded as German.
Oh, wait a minute. The favorite is Budweiser because there's Czech Budweiser and there's American Budweiser, and the two are not anywhere remotely close.
Even the Budweiser that we have here in Canada is not the same as you have in America.
Right. There are 3 beers here in America that 4 beers I will actually sit down and drink happily. One is Yingling, which is a crap beer, but just reminds me of college. Honey Brown, when I can find it.
You have to go to New York now for that. They made it a regional beer.
Oh, wow.
Bastards.
You remember this figure from like 1997, guys?
I have that one.
No.
Is that Goliath off the Guardian?
No, it's
It's a
What do you think?
succubus.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of autistic people would we think we are? I just remember a figurine from like 30 years ago.
I'm not ashamed about that. I remember this figure. This was the first figure I ever painted, and they had it on their website. I'm like, I'm buying it again.
It looked pretty white
That's
to
the
me.
first one you painted? Yeah, it's pretty shit paint
It was
job.
more than one color.
I just unwrapped it tonight.
He painted it white. Give him some
Way
slack.
back in the day, I painted. I don't know where it's at. It's on my shelf. Should be on the shelf back there,
Maybe.
or maybe it's in Garrett's collection. I don't know. But I bought some new figures and I started to work on them. I'm going to plop the camera back over on the hand action.
No, that's
That sounds wrong. Okay.
let's keep your fucking ball dead there.
As long as this doesn't
Don't
become
be
the
prude.
Shadow Show, I'm.
He didn't listen. We said,
I know,
"Don't
I
put some
know.
strange guy on there."
Yeah. So you know how you see these really bad scammers? This came up a little bit earlier. Like, hey, I'm the Nigerian prince or the Nigeria Air Force, and we need your money. And people fall for it. You see those, and you're like, who the fuck falls for this? How could you possibly not do it? Like, Shadow. Shadow is the person who falls for this.
But to be honest, like StreamYard really need a feature that you have to approve for people to turn the camera on.
Oh God!
Like if somebody come with the
Yeah,
camera off,
why is there not a preview?
they shouldn't be allowed to turn it on before the host approve it. For those, like I don't know why they didn't think of that, right? Just like
Well, I kind of missed this asshole, but Shauna was right. Unless your camera on, don't come on to one of these shows because it's actually nice. Nerds, you're
She's got the avatar.
I'm the exception to everything.
Yeah.
I'm just exceptional in all ways.
You have the avatar. You're not, I'm not worrying about anything other than what you have programmed into your laptop or whatever you're using to do this.
It's a NASA satellite.
I believe you. I don't know. I got a buddy here in town that works for NASA. I give up. Whatever.
or you give up. What is
Oh,
that?
somewhere between like the 80s and mid 90s, when it comes to like computers and technology, I got off the boat. It's like I understand how to work laptops to a certain degree, but technology is just fucking computers and all this is fucking beyond me. I know I'm an idiot. I
Well,
get it.
You can use a
The good news
microwave.
for you is that's also about the time where computers became super unimportant and like we don't need them at all in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I cook
But
for a
that's the thing.
living. I'm fine. There for a while.
There's this thing right now, like there was this meme, like it's like how come that as a society we produce exactly one generation that could use computer, that could understand computer, right? It's like the boomer can't, the millennial and the like just Gen X can understand computer. Everybody else can't, right? It's like
Yes,
like on
I'm
average.
amazed. My fucking like nephews and nieces are old enough now where they're getting their own like tablets and laptops and shit.
Yeah.
And the fucking questions they ask make my grandparents seem like computer apt. Like it's
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous. They're
Your
like, how do I
grandparents are
install
my
the
age.
YouTube? And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? How do you install the YouTubes? Like you're a fucking kid. You should know how computers work.
No. The answer is
Did they
no
not?
one knows how to install it, and you can never watch YouTube your entire life. You'll have to do, manual labor. That's the proper
Yeah.
response.
I'm
But-
okay
but
with
as
more
a
people
thing,
doing fucking manual labor.
No, manual
No,
labor
no,
is
no,
great.
no.
It's great for you.
I'm
It's
all
like,
for my
more
child
people
doing
should do
manual
manual
labor.
labor.
That's why I have.
Especially if you're building something.
Yes.
Everybody needs to build something on a regular basis. Whether it's some people need to do it monthly, some people once a year,
And-
but you need to build some shit and be able to see it.
And I'm gonna tell you something. The place I used to live, right? I would drive around and I could point to, oh, I built that building, I built that building, I did that. It's pretty fucking cool, right? Just like, but
Because of somebody I dated a long ass time ago, I got talking to go into Kenya and build churches out of mud and hay and a few other objects. That's about as close to building. And Bruce knows who I'm
That's cool.
talking about.
Yep.
You know,
I
when
never-
I went to
that person.
college and they were going to do there was an Adobe class, and the only reason the professor put it in there was he didn't expect anyone to take the class, and there were several of us across the street in the civil engineering. They're like, "Oh, this would be kind of cool," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to have that class." Like, then why did you put it on this curriculum? You know, on the
What is in my
syllabus
course syllabus?
or whatever was called. You know, whatever they do is where they do the class listings that you can apply for. And he did not expect anyone to go for it. But in the meantime, there were several of us grad students and PhD students like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool.
no man, like it's fun.
I
Building
was
stuff's
at
fun.
work yesterday and I had to debone a duck, which is a little bit of a trick, but it's not undoable. And I had this guy who is older than him. He's like 54, 55. And he's like, I worked in all these restaurants. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, here's another duck if you want to debone it really quick for him. He's like, I don't know how to do that.
What?
Well, like it's not something you do like everywhere, right? Deboning, like sometimes you just like get your
Yep.
meat.
Well,
prepped,
then
right?
I followed up. Was like, do you know how to debone a chicken? It's like, no. Like, and you worked at all these fucking restaurants? Well, it was more fusion. I'm like, and they weren't making their own fucking broths, or what?
You worked front of house at those restaurants.
I guess so, because his
Deboning a chicken or deboning a duck when it's cooked doesn't just imply like removing the bone.
well, when you debone, well, you can debone it after it's cooked, but with most for
Oh.
broths, you want to debone it before you cook it. Then you throw it into the water with the pot. Then, if you want to add the meat, you can, but most of the flavor comes out of the fucking bones, the cartilage, the fat.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can process most large game animals.
Oh yeah, because we used to do like we used to to boil the whole chicken,
Oh yeah, it's
and then we would debone them, but we used that was the chicken meat we used like for like club sandwich and shit like that.
oh yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way.
And then we use the broth from that, right? Just like boiling the whole chicken together.
It's just a chicken, not to go too much further down the line. Any animal that you can break down and use in 7 different fucking recipes for one animal is a better use of the animal than. And there's nothing wrong with like making chicken dumplings or whatever and just throwing a couple birds in the pot. But I like resourcing the source that I have to different aspects.
Yeah.
It's all about the turducken. That's all.
If I never have to make another fucking turducken, it'll be too fucking soon.
What?
Why would you even have
To
make
claim
one-
to puss is way better.
I believe you.
Which one?
Than to claim to puss.
Oh,
I hate turducken. Can I just say that aloud? It's not even.
Everybody hates turducken.
I
It's
love
more than-
turducken, but I'll tell you this much. But it has to be the total.
What is that?
Turducken?
What does it
Yes.
sound like? I want you to guess first.
Third ducking? Sound like a
Exactly.
turd in the duck.
Well,
Part of that,
I mean,
yes.
it kind of is.
It's a turkey that
Oh,
well, what you have is you have a chicken that's surrounded by a duck that's surrounded by a turkey. But I love it whenever you with
The
the
duck
stuff.
goes in the chicken and the turkey.
Yeah.
that's
Well, if you can
fucking
get
stupid idea.
if you can get the really
It's
good
a gimmick from Seinfeld, I think.
Yeah,
No, it's not. Anyway,
it sounds like
it's
it is,
enough
right?
fucking
Should be.
It probably came like a
It
joke.
doesn't- yeah, I'm not disagreeing. It does sound
Like
like
what
a
do you,
gimmick.
what do you stuff like a fucking bird in a
Well-
bird in a bird, right? Just like it's stupid. Like you want to fucking stuff
Well,
a bird with
what you-
something else.
Oh, it's actually well. Then
Pick
you
the
put
meat
in
you
the,
like and cook it.
crawfish. The crawfish stuffing is really good, and so it's the pecan stuffing.
Oh yeah,
It's a
did
lot better
duck.
than yeah.
Yeah.
I did
I
a
like
duck
that.
that with crawfish stuffing about 2 weeks
I don't
ago.
eat
It's
shellfish,
fucking
so-
amazing. What?
I don't eat shellfish, so I don't know.
Well, then
Is that a
then you
religious
can have
thing?
the pecan stuffing.
You gonna try to out me, nerds?
No.
Yeah, is that a religious thing, there, Mr. Max?
If he's
No, I'm
Catholic,
a
he
Jewish.
should be.
Class?
He's been going vegetarian today.
How do you feel about bacon?
I love bacon. Well,
Bacon?
no, I like bacon.
Actually, the best bacon, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with this, and that's fine because you're all wrong anyways, is salmon bacon. Salmon bacon on a BLT is
That's
fucking
not
amazing.
bacon. That's not bacon. That's fucking some kind of EP shit.
It's not
man.
bacon.
Yes,
That's salmon. Pick
No,
one.
no.
Yeah.
Baking is the act of curing of the meat. It being pork bacon, beef bacon, or salmon bacon is the fact after it.
Shut up,
Baking
nerd.
is the curing process.
Bacon, definition, cured and smoked pork belly. Bacon is a type
Yeah.
of salt-cured pork made from various cuts, etc., etc.
I get you. I understand what that's.
It's like the otherwise it's just like fucking cured meat, right? Like it's like like ham is cured. Like, well,
I
not
came
like
across.
not the way
Okay,
I'm
I was at
making-
this high-end restaurant in Chicago because of my aunt, and for breakfast they had a BLT with salmon bacon, and I'm like, fuck, I'll try that. I love salmon, and I bet it fucking amazing.
I
And
don't understand everyone's love of salmon, or generally fish as a whole.
Actually, my favorite fish is not salmon; it's walleye, and they do not have walleye where I live now.
no, they did not.
Yellowfin's better.
Yellowfin is better.
No, I didn't like that. Amberjack wasn't too bad. I like triggerfish, but triggerfish is basically tastes like chicken. At which point, why am I not eating chicken?
This is
And I'm
That's
not
a good
saying
question.
to someone that doesn't eat like
I'm
lot
a
of-
nyctiophobe, so I don't eat anything from the.
This is the redneck. Well, not going to say redneck. This is the hillbilly part of my family speaking. I love crappie.
Okay, there's a lot
Crop.
down here.
Like what?
No. Crappie.
It's a little fish.
Yeah.
You eat frogs?
Yeah, I eat
I
frogs.
have.
There's
What?
food wise. There's let me put this in the right setting. Food wise, there's not much I won't try at least once.
What about snails?
I've eaten
Snails
escargot
okay.
a handful of times.
They're just so
I won't eat
expensive.
snail.
It's not worth it.
I've had frog and I've had squirrel, but I won't eat snail.
Wait,
I've
you,
never-
I would have
Squirrel.
squirrel.
you've had squirrel?
I ate squirrel at Sear School after I caught it.
That
Oh.
tracks. Okay, that tracks.
It was delicious, but I hadn't eaten in 2 weeks, so that may have like changed my
Yeah.
taste buds.
Well, squirrel.
You must not
rabbit,
eat the
and-
brain of squirrel, though. That's one thing.
They're all
you should
kind of
avoid.
nutty. No, squirrel's just clean white meat, same as rabbit.
All right, I'm gonna
You'll
head
starve eating rabbit.
Yeah,
out. You guys all have a good night.
Well, if you only
Yeah,
eat rabbit,
See ya.
or good night,
Good
Malaki.
seeing you, sir.
Like you can eat rabbit every day if you want, if you put a piece of cheese with it, right? Just like, and then you're fine.
There's not enough fat on a rabbit for.
Yeah, but that's why you
nutrition.
you add the cheese.
Yeah, but even cheese is not enough fat.
Well, eat more.
So add more cheese.
Well, that's why you eat brie. If you eat brie cheese, you're okay.
Well,
Man,
yeah.
I can eat fucking like a pound of cheese a day, man. Like,
That's all.
if I don't
That's
watch
right.
Try the
myself,
rabbit, get your fat that
What?
way.
What happened to Max? He got so big. Oh, he ate so much cheese his whole grew over.
man, like
At least you guys
it's insane how
have
much.
to a
much
certain
cheese I
degree grilled cheese up there. I mean, the American
Yeah.
cheese
Oh, yeah,
is
no.
nothing but plastic with yellow paint
Yeah.
on top of it.
Well,
Like,
it
it's-
depends on the type of cheese you buy, like most things.
Like I'm still fat, right? But it's a good thing that I move a lot and I'm very active because I would be fucking obese like motherfucker, right? Just, I eat so much fucking cheese and beef and shit like
Did
that.
you change jobs again, Max, or no?
I don't have a job. I haven't have a job like since I did YouTube.
What? I thought you were for some
Yeah.
odd reason. I thought you were a personal trainer.
No, I
It's a
used to
hobby.
coach. Yeah, I used to coach people. Yeah, I would do that on the
After
side,
his
right?
banana review channel blew up, he retired off the money.
Exactly. Now I'm a full-time banana reviewer.
God.
I was unaware of your YouTube millions. I'm so sorry,
Nope.
sir.
You never watched the Banana Report?
No.
Everybody's
I have
seen
the-
it. I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who hasn't watched it.
I have the biggest banana review on YouTube, the biggest banana review channel on YouTube.
It's literally like 13 times larger than the second largest.
Probably, yes.
That's awesome.
surprised we haven't been banned off. Well, Bruce hasn't been banned off YouTube yet.
Is I'm
Oh,
looking
banned off
looking it up
Discord.
right now.
I mean, I love Janet from Another Planet, but there's been a few times where she's been on shows like, "Yep, we're going to end up on Rumble or Pornhub."
Were you looking it up right now, Amino?
Yeah, I am. Because I'm like, banner review? What the hell is banner review?
The Banana Report. That's what it's called.
He's the only trusted source for reviewing your daily bananas.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what gets me about the whole thing about bananas is that they are crap compared to what they were in the 70s. Since that,
The Gros Michel disappeared.
There was a fucking show
I
on,
don't know, man.
I think it was a Discovery show. What would happen if if people disappeared? How it would affect the rest of the world? Like bananas are fucked, mangoes are fucked, and a few other fruit because we've fucked with them so much, they're fucked.
it depends on the type
Yeah,
of
what
banana.
about like
I
lemons and
just
shit that aren't even real?
Yeah,
I just bought my mother a couple of blue
banana?
bananas, and
Yeah.
they're not the ones you can find in the store. So,
Oh, gotcha.
but that said, is it's going to take 3 years before I can actually harvest any of them.
So start this. What do you think is the number one purchase at Walmart?
Bananas.
Bananas.
Bananas. Yeah, kind of led
Yeah.
into that.
People
But
love
yeah,
them.
I hate the taste of store bananas, but I love fucking eating Fruity Tooties banana flavor. I have no fucking
Really?
idea what
So-
the disconnect is.
I'm the opposite.
So, Connell, that's what bananas used to taste like.
Oh,
That's not.
Yeah,
what,
but it used to
that's-
taste like ass.
Yeah. Like the fake banana flavor is based on the Gros Michel, but now like what the most banana that is sold now is like the Cavendish.
There was that fungal disease or something wiped out almost all of them, and so now they keep
Yeah.
on. And they went from like they were really sweet, and they're just getting worse and worse. Now banana tastes like a plantain. I'm like, what the hell?
I like
And I-
plantain.
Nah, they don't take the war. You
Yeah.
they don't take like plantain. You're pushing it. I ate Gros Michel. They're not the shit. They're not that great, right? Just like they're too
Yeah.
sweet for my taste.
I don't like them. They're way too sweet. They
Yeah.
don't taste good. They're just obnoxious. Like the flavor is obnoxiously sweet.
Yeah.
Like-
Yes. And when you have like an overripe
Same thing with
banana,
the
right, you get
strawberries.
that as well. Oh, I agree with you, Nerds, on that.
When is that?
I'm not a big fan of strawberries because it's just too sweet. Mangoes, I love mangoes, but I'm gonna eat like a few pieces and then I'm good. I'm done. That's too sweet. You know. It's
I
like-
will buy my daughter a pineapple every week, and by Monday through Friday. By Friday, the pineapple's gone. She'll kill
Yeah.
a whole fucking
Our
pineapple.
cum must taste good.
Well, see, I was in Cambodia, and we got dragon fruit, and so I tried it here in the U.S. and they pick it so soon. It's like water. It's like,
Yeah.
this is such crap. I mean, really, that's part of the reason I'm growing fruit trees. Is I like to be able to get fruit off of the tree when it's ripe, not like
Yeah.
2 weeks before it even gets close. And most of
That's
the time,
the-
like you're talking about, is I'll be honest, I really don't like eating fruit anyway. But most of the time, it's like, okay, I'll use it for flavoring in something else. So you really cut a lot of it if you want. But
Yeah. My mother, she has a bit of land and she grow a lot of fruits and vegetables and shit like that. And that's how I grew up, right? Just like always like going, you want to make a sandwich in the summer, right? Just go pick stuff in the garden and then like make
Yeah.
a sandwich with it, right? Shit like that when it's the season. Like it's from she's north of Quebec, so the season are short. But when you can do it, and it's such a fucking difference. Like you want a tomato, you just like pick it that's starting to crack from the sun, right? Just like
yeah.
And then I moved to Montreal and it's like, man, those fucking taste like shit.
Well, it's like why do we? Well, this is why they talk about it's better to buy canned tomatoes because those are actually ripe. They'll throw them in there.
Yeah, but from a nutrients point of view, there's next to nothing in it.
No, it's the same nutrients. All you do is
yeah.
you pull them in
Depends
there.
what you do with it, right? Just like you don't eat a fucking can of canned tomato with a fork, like and just chumming, like, but if you want to cook with them, just like
Yeah.
cheaper too.
Well, Connell, if you're not eating something that's ripe anyway, it doesn't have the nutrients.
Yeah, that's
for the most
fair.
part. So but most of those canned tomatoes, what they do is they pick them at their peak ripeness, which really means that they're overripe, that they couldn't sell them in the supermarket, and that's what they. It's the same thing with orange juice. If the oranges don't look pretty, they turn them into orange juice.
Yep.
I'm looking out right now. In my area, we have 2 really good farmers markets
Hmm.
that I go to at least twice a week. And, if something is in season, like strawberries, you brought up strawberries earlier. Actually, homegrown strawberries taste fucking amazing. And with that, you don't have to add much sugar to it. They just taste fucking amazing.
Don't
You
add
know,
any
fucking
sugar. It's already
no, yeah,
sweet as hell.
Yeah.
yes,
Well, so
yeah.
my son, we grabbed the IQF stuff, and you're talking because you're in Illinois. I used to buy sour cherries from Michigan.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
buy 20 pounds, and my friend turned them into preserves. It was just like boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite
it,
fruit is is raspberry, right? It's like my
yeah.
mother she got like those big plant raspberry. Like she would collect like 4 liter of like during the season she would collect like 4 liter of raspberry a days, and
Hmm.
that's not all the raspberry she had, but it's like once she filled her 4 liter bucket, she was done for the day.
Yeah. Well, I
So then like
also
we make jam like for the year, right? And you always like fucking this raspberry jam, and she would put like very little sugar in them. So it's basically like just fucking boiled raspberries. It's so fucking
yeah.
great. I can fucking find that in the store.
Well, raspberries are so sweet anyway, like you said. Strawberries,
They're a bit tart too, right? They're not just sweet. They have something else too coming up
yeah.
to balance. That's the
Well,
problem with strawberry. Strawberry are fucking sweet, and they kind of have nothing else going on for them to
so
balance the sweetness.
like my son, what he does, he throws the strawberries into just plain yogurt. We put in Greek yogurt, and that's how he eats them. And I don't understand why in the world, whenever you buy yogurt in the store, they have to add sugar. I'm like, these fruits are sweet enough. Just throw them in there.
Yeah.
I just recently
But
got a fucking taste for fucking yogurt. It's taken me 40 plus years.
well, I'm trying to think of right now I'm trying to grow pomegranates, some sour
Oh, pomegranates are
cherries,
good.
and an
Fucking annoying to eat though.
yeah.
Where are
Well,
you?
we'll find out. I've got a few
What state
years
are
till
you in,
spring.
Nominal?
What's that?
What state are you in?
I'm in Texas. Pomegranates grow
Okay.
pretty well here.
Yeah, that's what I was
Actually,
wondering. Because like growing all those fruits, like here, like we're pretty limited, right? We can
well,
grow like
see, if I was one further
Fairhead.
south, see, like if I was in Houston, I could grow bananas and dragon fruit and a few others that don't grow right because I'm just north of that. Cherries are kind of that weird, and we'll see. I've got 3 cherry trees out
Yeah,
there right now. I'll see another.
cherry like
I've
temperate weather.
Yeah, well, and then olive. I've got a couple of olive trees on my porch right now, and then the other one I
Oh,
have is what they call star cherries, which I have to bring in because they don't survive any kind of winter.
I haven't had fresh off the vine olives in decades.
Hmm.
It's been a while, and I go through a lot of fucking olives. I just, I haven't been a while since I've had farm fresh.
Well, Connell, considering how slow olive trees grow, I might have to wait decades too. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, actually in the fridge right now, I have garlic stuffed olives. I'm just like, I'm gonna use this half of the jar for dirty martinis, and I'll eat the rest.
well, I've been. Boy, if I could get more beef tallow, that's what I need to order more of. But basically, I live on butter, beef tallow, and heavy
Butter.
cream along with meat, and I'll supplement with some other stuff. But that's the majority of my diet.
Add roasted
Are you a
lamb.
teetotaler?
That's such a high protein diet right now. Like I saw a doctor not long ago, and he's like, normally I would say a man with your situation, you would normally have what we call pre-diabetes. I'm like, ha, which means I don't have it. He's like, no, you don't. And I got to ask what you're eating. I'm like, well, typically twice a week I have pork steaks, or I'll have 3 to 4 times a day, times a week. Excuse me. I'll have like a pork shoulder roast, and then I augment that with about another 24 to 30 eggs a week. A week? You eat that many eggs a week? Are you no wonder your numbers are coming out so weird. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you should be dead. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, but everything's kind of weirdly balancing out because you've got so much protein going into your body. You're able to fight off the onset of diabetes. I wouldn't recommend this for anybody,
Fucking diabetes. Like what?
but you're actually beating it.
Well, yeah. Well, what gets me is better. you talk about diabetes, like cut out the carbohydrates and sugars.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way of doing it. And they
And-
talk like ketogenic diets are something new. They've been going on since the 30s for epileptics. It's not like
And-
they don't know its benefits.
You also have to not only like cut out the sugar, but you also have to cut out like even the fake sugar, right? It's gonna cause you because like the body like recognize like the sweet taste and spike your insulin production, right? So they're still bad, right? Just fucking like learn to appreciate other taste, like the bitterness and the right. Just like there's plenty of like the umami taste.
For me, it was
Salt.
spicy foods that got me off of sugar. I fell
Oh,
in
yeah?
love with spicy food with capsaicin, and I started replacing my entire fucking diet. Like it changed everything I ate on a daily basis, and then it grew from there and evolved into actually having something of a balanced palate where I can enjoy different flavors. But yeah, I was addicted to sugar up till I was like 22.
Yeah. I like space. I never fucking had a sweet tooth at all. Like even when I was a child, like I didn't fucking care for candy and shit like that. But I
How
like
many
spicy
hookers are in
food.
that fridge, Omen Owl?
How many what?
Hookers.
I don't know. But no, that's probably gonna last me if I would just eat all that. I'm gonna have to order at least another half share from the from my local meat guy. Well, he helped build my my entrance, and then he says, "Hey, by the way, I got these cattle that I'm going to do. Would you like half a share or a full share?" And like, how much?
I
He
would
says
love to fucking get.
he's like $4.50 a pound for the hanging weight. You know, after they remove all the guts and stuff. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
sounds good to me. So, boy,
Really
that
fucking
chuck
on, like,
was good. That chuck
I
roast was
fucking eat
really
like a pound, I'm serious when I say I eat a pound of beef a day, right? Just like that's my diet, a pound of beef a day.
That's all.
Wow, that's no. I also eat like between like 200 and 400 grams of cheese a day.
Well,
Uh,
okay. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm about the same way. As I
and
have 1-2 pounds
and a
of
few
meat.
eggs and shit like that, right? Just like, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
my
a few
son,
eggs for you?
Hmm?
How many eggs do you eat?
if I ate a pound of beef, 3 is gonna be fine. It's just gonna be like my late night snack, right?
Okay.
I have a weird way of eating.
How do you eat your eggs? I mean, boiled.
Oh no, I eat them scramble or over easy, I guess. Is that a term?
Okay. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
easy.
Over easy fried.
Yeah, sometimes I make some omelette with some feta cheese and some red onion and shit
Oh
like
yeah.
ham. That's pretty good.
Oh
Yeah.
I go through.
let's see. My son eats six eggs a day,
Yeah,
if
I used to
if
do
not
that.
more. And then I try, and that's just because they're easy to cook and they're snacks. And then
Yeah.
he eats I don't know how much as far as pasta and
Oh,
several other
pasta I
things.
try to avoid. Yeah, pasta I
Well,
try
he
to
does-
avoid. But also, like I'm I'm an old man too, right? And I don't train as much as I used to, so I cut down a lot too on those kind of things.
And then he ate a bunch of the sausages we bought today. So
I mean, I ran that
There's
sausage
a
in so
guy
long.
at my farmer's market that sells duck eggs, and I'm like, yes. I'll
oh,
take
my
one.
father hated duck eggs so much. He would
Mm-hmm.
yell at my grandmother. He's like, "Did you put duck eggs in this cake?" He gets so mad at her. He says, "Hey, duck eggs."
I don't. I mean, I think it's pretty much because of the diet that they feed the chickens, the grocery store eggs. But I grew up on yolks are basically damn near reddish orange, more red than
Yep.
anything else.
That's
Oh,
if you depending on if you feed your chicken, the yolk color is gonna change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can make like pretty drastic change. You can make them fucking green if you want.
Well, see, what gets me about the whole thing with the eggs is you look at the store bought eggs, and they're first off is they leave them out there for like 3 weeks before they even put them in the store, so you can peel them. But yeah, my son, his mother owns like 40 chickens, and so they're just popping eggs left and right. And
That's
he's
a
eating
lot of
them.
fucking chickens.
Yeah, every so often they'll end up in a stew pot, depending on how annoyed she gets. But
Four is a magic number when it comes to fucking chickens. Not 40, 4.
well, that's only because that's all you're allowed in the city. To me, you should have at least a dozen chickens and one rooster.
Yeah. You know what's better than a dozen chickens? Having 0 chickens.
I don't know where you get that idea.
I have the same opinion when it comes to cats. I'm living with 5 fucking cats, and I'm like, I think we
You
had just
can,
have 5 cats too
dude,
many.
you live in Peoria or Pekin, and there's like 4 fucking Chinese restaurants in Pekin right now, and I will take it to treat your cats right. What the fuck are you talking about?
I would not consider those Chinese food. They all fucking suck.
Have you ever had General Tso's chicken?
No, because most of the time that recipe calls for red flag chili peppers in it, and I'm allergic to capsaicin, so that's just no bueno.
Oof. Man,
Don't ever eat over with Nerd's Nerd because she'll kill you.
Well, Nerd probably just wants to kill me
Yeah.
on principle.
On principle.
I put habanero on my cornflakes.
Oh.
Habanero on the cornflakes? Wow.
See, I don't.
I feel sorry for
Here's
your
what gets
fucking
me
toilet.
is I don't like a lot of the chilies are just too hot. I mean, I had ghost pepper cheese today, which was fine. It was just it's hotter than I would enjoy. But then what I really hate is the mild stuff is so bland. Like, give me a nice hot medium. Like, and Bruce probably knows this. Is that Hetch chili queso?
Yes.
That is awesome. Oh, hey, and the other one is, speaking of, have you had the Hetch chili cookies at Central Market?
I've been looking at those and wondering if they're worth it. Are they?
They are really good. They're too well. It depends. Do you just want to eat like 1 or 2, or are you going to say, I feel guilty because I ate a whole box yesterday? It depends on.
I mean, it all depends. Was this a day that I was hauling hoses up and down hills because? Okay, am I doing a lot of labor? Because I'll eat the fucking box. I don't give a shit.
Oh no! I this is what I did one day. Is I came over because I really liked them. And I gave, and my son's mother was dropping him off, and I'm like, "Here, have a cookie." And she ate one of the cookies. She's like, "Ah, ah." She could not take any kind of spice, and they're like, God, you are so Northern European. And then my son has them, and he says, I don't like them. I said, all right, fine. So I put them in the freezer. I come back, a couple days later, I haven't touched them. Like, why is there one cookie left in the box?
So the funny thing with me is I actually like heat. If it wasn't the allergy, because
Oh,
whatever I could put horseradish on, I'll fucking marinate, dump, a ball of horseradish on and eat.
You ever have? What do you think about Worcestershire sauce?
I'm not a big fan of it. There's a lot of recipes I do that calls for it, but
Is it because they're made from anchovies or what?
it's too salty for me.
Okay.
What about some of the Indian dishes where they use a lot of cinnamon?
Oh yeah. Oh man, there is a place in Peoria called Rise and Spice, and if I could just spend like 6 weeks working there, a couple months, just allow me back in the kitchen and let me see what you guys are doing back here, it'd be fucking outstanding for me. My nerdiness to a certain degree falls into 3 categories: history, a little bit gaming, but mainly cooking. Yes.
When you say history, do you mean World War II, Greece and Rome?
No, I'm talking.
I love you.
What else would people think about history?
Yes, I get the joke, nerd, because I'm a gamer. It's gotta be, I get it. But no, I just in general, I love history. American history is interesting just because how new the country is, how much we've fucked up in such a short period.
I like the Merovingian history. Does that count?
What I've really been enjoying is going to the
I think Merovingian history is perfectly valid.
Merovingian.
The Carolinian, the Merovingian, yeah.
I prefer 1860s to 1910 American history. That's just me.
I'll say what I enjoy is the 1500s to the conquistadors.
Yeah.
Also, really just depends on the person's grabbed my interest. There for a while, I was, deep diving into Niccolo Machiavelli. So I read The Prince and a few other things. And he was just a fucking troll at his time. I mean, if there was the internet, he would have been the king of the trolls. Benjamin Franklin for American, Teddy Roosevelt. Tesla, not Musk, but the original Tesla, just for American history. Well, and it just whatever grabs my attention. But I love history.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good history. The problem is what was that one TV
There's a
show
lot
on
of
the
bad history
channel
too.
called, what was called The Real West, where they would talk about the like they would talk about the hookers and things like that, and the
my!
the
Speaking
Old
of the
West and
hookers,
stuff.
speaking of the hookers, there's a person I game
Tunnel's
with
an
in first.
expert.
Yeah, I am not. Anyway,
I don't pay for them; they
strip
pay for
clubs,
me.
That's strip clubs.
You pay them to leave.
Yeah. But no, there was this woman that games with me and Bruce's game. We're talking about the Wild Wild West one time. I'm like, you know who won the West? And she's like families and law and the Christian church. I'm like, no, whores. Good old fashioned whores won the Wild Wild West.
No. I'm gonna bring this up. Is the
Whore.
whores? The whores were the ones that actually were at the forefront of the women of the West. Actually, if you look at one point, I think New York was 25% hookers at one point.
Oh, speaking
No, it's
of
50%.
speaking of women of the night, Illinois is about ready to pass a bill. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but it's up for a conversation that will make brothels okay in the state of Illinois. You still can't have your guns, but we'll build you a whorehouse.
Yeah, that's fucking like that should be fucking legal. It's fucking like American like on that on fucking retarded.
Even in Germany,
Illinois is your atypical location that if they can figure out a way to take away your ability to complain about something and forcefully get your way, but yet find a way to tax you on something, Illinois will do it.
Illinois ran off. Didn't Illinois run off Hugh Hefner?
Yeah, he graduated from Champaign, Illinois. Well,
Yeah, he was a graduate of U of I.
Hugh
Like
Hefner,
yeah.
Hugh
Talk about
Hefner in
you.
the early 2000s was willing to pay for a new library to be built in U of I. His only request was to have it named after him, and the college was like, no. But if you go to Champaign right now and go down that College Town Street, Green Street, for those who know Champaign, it looks like a little Chinatown because the Chinese Communist Party has moved to Champaign.
Yeah, there's nobody to oppose them. There's nobody saying you can't be communist here. They're fucking welcoming that with open arms.
Well, who do you think?
I mean, that sounds pretty American to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was the? But I mean, when you start really looking at history, it's not the stuff that they teach in history books that's the most interesting stuff. It's the stuff they don't want you to talk about.
There is a
Yeah, it's the lizard people of Egypt and their war against the Atlanteans that really piqued my interest.
Yep.
Hey.
Let me go grab Wave and
along
talk
with
about
the
lizard
frog
people all night.
Okay, Mr. Max, I'm saying this not meaning to start an argument with you because I know we're both Catholic. So I want to start off.
I am. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I'm a practicing Catholic. I go 3 times a week.
You practice, he is.
But you want to read some interesting fucking history? Deep dive into the Catholic Church. Holy shit!
I know about the Catholic Church. I know a lot about the Catholic Church. I
Pope,
follow it, right?
Pope. I can't think of his what name he picked, but Borgia. He was a fun pope.
No, that's not.
There's
recent
so
history.
many in there.
Yeah.
Well, here, if you really want to have fun with it, look at how in the world they became Pope and Charlemagne and everything else that was
Man,
involved.
motherfucker, I'm a descendant of Saint Louis. So, you think I don't know the history?
Well, no. I mean, but part of it was is that hey, you had to get the divine right of kings, and so that's how he became Catholic. Is they said, well, they'll bless off on me, and so that was. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
know
lot
about
of what's
that shit,
going
like
on.
Avignon papacy and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a tough time at some point. But the church endures.
It does.
Yeah.
We might be getting a new pope here soon.
Mhm.
We
Good.
might.
Yeah, I like
Might-
this guy. The guy right now, he's a real piece of work.
I mean, when you have a pope that's not willing to defend the Christians in the Middle East, and would much rather defend the Muslims, there's something wrong with you.
The layman worries way too much about the fucking head of the church, right? Focus on your own life, like your own fucking sin and shit like that. That's the way it goes, right? There's a lot of things that is beyond our understanding as human being, right? The way of the Lord are unknowable. That's we're being told that all the time, right? People want to have like an opinion of every fucking thing. You don't know every fucking thing. You know what's happening in your own life, and that's what you should focus about. There's this this principle in Christianity, in Catholicism, that the issue should be dealt with the lower level of authority possible. So you should keep things local. But now with social media and mass media and stuff like that, it's the same thing with news in general, right? News, it used to be that you would know a lot about things happening around you, and the further you would go away from you, the less you would know, because news would travel slow. But now with fucking mass media, people know a lot about things that happen, a lot about things that happen like across the world, and know fucking nothing about what's happening in the whole fucking neighborhood. And that's a fucking perversion. That's an inversion of how things should be.
All right, well, see, this is what gets me, is all these people talk about voting. I'm like, did you vote in your local elections? They're like, no. Did you vote here? I'm like, no. I said, did you vote in the primary? No. It's like, guys, I work with a lot of the local officials. They're determining all this stuff that's applying to you in your daily life as a majority, and everyone wants someone to solve it way above their head. And I was like, God,
I'm not a voter because I don't believe in democracy, but
you know when they're like, well, so many people say your elections don't matter. We had a school board here where there were 3 people running. Do you know how many people voted in the school election? 4. 4 people voted in the school election.
Wow.
That was
does that election set count? Did they have like a quorum that they need to reach, or?
No. What it is you had 3 candidates running, and
no, but there's the notion of quorum, right?
Yeah. You have to have at least over 50.
Of the not over 50. No fucking election would made it if it was but you have to a certain proportion of the population that eligible to vote that vote.
So the 3 candidates each voted for themselves, and one other person walked in from the county and broke the tie.
Well, but that was what one of them. But then we have well, Bruce may not be familiar with this much, but over in Texas we have soil and water conservation boards. We can't find people to run for those, and most of those guys are in their 80s, and their retirement is when they die. And it's not because they don't want someone to replace them. It's because no one runs in for those positions. They run unopposed for like 30 years. And they're just like, I'd like to quit. And then they're like, well, I have nothing better to do. My wife died off. And, but I'm like, whenever people say, well, your vote doesn't matter. If you can't find 3 friends to vote for you, maybe there's something wrong. I have seen elections where the guy, well, actually it was the lady won unanimously with 2 votes. I'm like, if you can't find 3 friends, maybe there's a problem with you.
So my landlord, well, 2 things really quick. Our elections was on April 1st. I don't know if it's the same in Texas or where else, but I saw
time over here.
And like our for local elections on April Fool's Day, I'm like, that sounds about right. And my landlord actually got a seat on City Hall here in Pekin. I'm like, woohoo! I'm opening up a cigar shop. I got one person on the council say yes.
Well, I'll tell you what really disgusts me is I saw this up in Dallas. We're talking about a really poor area of Dallas. And the city councilman said, if you don't hire my people, I won't let you build this area that will bring in 1,000 jobs. And I went, you live in one of the you represent one of the poorest areas. They need those 1,000 jobs, and you're going to stop it because you're not hiring your consultants. That's what pisses me off. Is like, you're not acting in the best interest.
Wait. This is not Chicago, right? Because
that's
a Chicago trick.
Oh, Chicago has that special ability where they start fighting you for the lot next door. So when you clean it up, they sue you that you have to restore it to its original condition.
It was a joke, like the Washington want to build a fence somewhere, and then they got a guy from Chicago and a guy from Tennessee to do a submission. And the guy from Tennessee said, "I'll do it for $700," and the guys of Chicago said, "I'll do it for $3,000." And the congressman said, "What the fuck, man? This guy says 700. He said 3,000." I said, "Yeah, because I'll hire for $700 this guy, and then we'll share the rest between us."
So you laugh at that. I actually saw that one time in some bidding, is the guy had bid, and he was so much lower than the other guy that had bid, but he was disqualified because he didn't have the correct paperwork done.
Yeah.
And the guy who won immediately walked outside, talked to him, made him an employee, and hired him. And so they both won in that case. It's like, I'll pay you whatever you were bidding, and then I'll make up the rest. I was like, gee.
Something I started dipping my toe into since I started the new job in January
Yeah.
is composting.
Is composting?
And, composting, yeah. Like I work in septic and grease, so like I just haul the stuff, the main ingredient in this magical stuff. One of my friends, who is my boss's business partner, has got access to 30 acres right now, and we're going to start clearing that over the next couple months and putting this through lime filters. Where we're dumping it at right now, they're going to start worrying about explicitly just the fill level of the tanks, because they used to take care of the compost as well. But once Eric, my boss's partner, gets some cleared areas next to where we currently dump, we're going to be handling all the compost for basically one half of the city.
Wow.
So I started getting into compost as just kind of like a cursory thing, but
Are you gonna make money from that?
yeah, it's
Well,
going to be steady income.
I mean,
So let me just say that you guys there that are bored or wanting to know about this stuff, get your hands a little dirty, get yourself an apprenticeship for plumbing or some septic installation
No.
certifications.
I'll
And
skip. I think.
no. The reason why you want to get involved with this is because if you start doing it on a commercial basis, the pathway for you to elevate yourself out of whatever tax bracket you're currently in and go up exponentially is fucking unreal.
hey,
I'm not in
Bruce.
tax bracket
I
now.
think
Wait a minute. Wait
Think
a
of the
minute.
hell did a bit about that.
Wait, Bruce.
Yeah.
Do you have room for an apprentice?
There's
I got a 16-year-old I need to pawn off on someone.
I was
So.
about to say, you need a new job
Right.
there now.
Hey,
we
you know what? If Doge gets its way, I might. But no, I would. Actually, the sad thing is looking at plumbers. Plumbers probably make more than I do as an engineer. So.
Oh, I've been on all my kids.
And you're not a very good engineer.
Oh no! You're a good engineer. It's just plumbers make more money.
An average journeyman plumber here, nerd, is about 150 to 300,000.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and a good engineer should make more than that.
No, a good engineer probably 100 to 150, and that's usually what you're looking at.
Well,
for most.
To be fair, when you say engineer, that's such a broad spectrum. Like it's almost impossible.
I'm talking like
what
a
is
real
an engineer, right?
A real licensed engineer, not a fucking software engineer, which isn't. A licensed engineer. A licensed engineer is no.
You have a ring? Do you do this ring thing in the US?
What ring are you referring to?
Oh, you're like in
It
Canada.
used to be
the
bigger.
engineer, in Canada, engineer got this ring, right? Like
I got my
there's
stamp.
it's this
I
weird
got my
fucking thing,
stamp.
right? You can tell somebody's an engineer because they have this special ring that they wear. It's
Yeah.
like fucking cult here in Canada.
We
It's
call
weird.
those Freemasons here in America.
Not
No,
the
actually,
it's a different
Germans have it too. If you get a carpenter and stuff, you can look at their ring. You can tell on who's what for their guilds. But yeah, looking around the world,
And it was a big thing
engineers
where
get
like
probably paid.
some software engineer started getting the ring. Like the other engineer were kind of pissed off.
I mean, I guess a good engineer becomes an architect, right?
No, engineers and architects want to kill each other because architects make things that like, what are you designing? And this isn't safe. That's like, all right, fine.
That's
We'll
the experience I've had so far. I haven't seen engineers and architects live in harmony at all since I've gotten involved with this shit.
If I was a young man and I was to start my career again, I think I'd become an architect.
When I was
a lot of people get into structural engineering, think they're going to do architecture, and realize very quickly it doesn't go that way. But yeah, I mean, most of the engineers I've seen with 15 or 20 years of experience, or even 30, very rarely, unless they are a partner or something, make over 200K. And that's why when he's
I
talking
mean, your
about
average plumber in the U.S. makes 60 to 70. So
I don't,
No, that's
you can
not
Google it right now.
that. I'm telling you, that's low. That's really low.
yeah, I
We
mean,
got
That's the
guys here that
average.
are making hand over fist, but we're also in a high growth city, and so like if you are a plumber, if you can turn a wrench as an apprentice, you can make 60,000.
Yeah. Yeah, my uncle's doing great. He's a plumber. He makes like about 120 to 150 a year, depending.
Mm-hmm. And we got
Like
guys that are doing
the
and
U.S.
doing.
average is 60. It's actually 58,000 is the U.S. average for a plumber.
Yeah, but that's also because like a lot of plumbers don't work full time because they're alcoholic.
They have DUIs, so you need to pay some kid to drive them around.
That and painters.
I'm going to tell you the worst problem for fucking plumbers I know. It's alcohol. They fucking get stuck on it.
I wasn't joking.
Ruin themselves.
well, I mean,
I was being
I've been looking.
serious.
I mean, I've been looking what plumbers make, and when you start doing it by per hour, and if you assume that they charge 2 to 3 times what their hourly rate is, that's what they're taking home.
Yeah.
No, that's pre-taxes. Plumbers are raking it in, and I've asked my son. I said, son, would you? Because he's really aiming towards electrician just because that's what he enjoys, but he doesn't mind doing the plumbing stuff. He's like, yeah, Dad, I could be a plumber. So
Well,
that's what
if he's good with electronics, I'm going to tell him the route. All he's got to do is learn about the ATU systems that are being forced on a lot of Texas areas.
Mhm.
They're a plumbing system that have multiple chambers, and the final chamber has pumps in it. And at a certain level, it's supposed to send the effluent after it's been filtered through a couple tanks into a sprinkler system that's been bleached. And so you have bleach water with previous poop water being sprayed on the yards. This is what they're forcing all across America, I'm assuming, because they are doing it here, and it's a California-esque idea, so I only imagine everybody else is being stuck with it. But you have to be part electrician or have a good grasp of electronics to even understand how some of these pumps work sometimes, and other times it's literally just a matter of knowing which part to kick when you open the tank, and that'll get it working again. It's one or two. And go ahead.
No. Well, I know that you're talking about the gray water stuff, but man, my son loves pumps. My son loves electronics, and he's okay with it, with things that smell bad. So
Your
I'm
16-year-old love pumps.
Oh, he wouldn't do his homework, but we came in and he'd taken all of the
play with his
solar
pump.
batteries.
He's spending his
Do you
time
have him
playing in his
testing?
room playing with his pump.
He takes it like he takes all sorts of stuff with the the fish tanks and things like that, and you're like, all right, son. And he was, and the more reaction that someone gets from a bad smell, the happier he is. So,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, oh his mother.
That's it. I think if you want to be a plumber or a plumber,
Plumber.
as a law dog would have us say, a plumber, you need to do the fucking new construction site, because then you don't fucking deal with the poop water.
Well,
just laying down pipe that had never been used, right? Just saying.
Well, the less that people are willing to do a job, the more that you can get paid for it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's overseeing it.
King of the Hill did a whole bit about this where they go to like career day, and Body Hill goes with this dude. His whole thing is he drives around on a 4-wheeler and he sunks up dog poop in a vacuum, right? And it's like everyone avoided that booth because they were like, who the fuck wants to do that? And then the guy who's running that business is like living in this super nice house and has like this wonderful fucking life. And he's like, well, nobody else wants to do it, so I can charge whatever I want.
Oh, and especially if it's on, and I know Bruce knows this, if it's on what is it, Christmas Eve at night.
You called me on a Sunday?
Oh,
you called me to go to work on a Sunday? Yeah, your typical $400 job is going to cost you about $1,200 to $1,500. But I'll be there.
And you know what's funny is people will pay whatever at that point. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's like if you want to work in those off hours,
you gotta fix it.
Oh yeah, well, exactly, and that's the whole
I just
point.
feel like you should probably just watch a YouTube video and learn how to fix it in 10 minutes and then do it.
The problem is the certifications. If you can get the certifications after you've done that, nerd, excellent. a lot of these require a number of work hours to be performed. Like for tradesmen, where I'm
Yeah,
at,
if you do it yourself for your own home,
Yeah.
you don't care about that shit.
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm saying.
DIY, yeah, go ahead. The thing is that you have to have a paper trail of who fixed it and who maintains it, because these systems that have the pumps that shoot them into your sprinkler heads, certain counties like Bexar County, which is spelled Bexar County Law Doc, BEXAR, Bexar County, San Antonio, they require you to have certifications for you to do this. And if you don't, then what could happen is that literally TCEQ, Texas Environmental Quality Commission, comes over to your home, asks you for paperwork, and if you don't have it, they start getting kind of costly, like upwards of $2,000.
Why do you tell them you did it then?
Yeah, exactly. That's fucking like anarcho-tyranny,
It-
right? That's like
okay.
the prime example, right?
We live in America where
you're gonna control the little people on every fucking little thing that is fucking meaningless, but like fucking murder and rapists go
you guys
free on the
aren't seeing
road.
this, but it's HOAs and the 30 fucking cameras that are all around your houses that are picking this shit up.
It's
You
the
might not have
Karens that are causing the issue. I work with TCEQ.
Buy a fake mustache and put on a hat.
I would like to see that. I don't know about the rest of these clowns, but I would like to see that.
Well, but no, I mean, I work with TCEQ. There's not as much. It's usually like Bruce says. There's a bunch of Karens out there that want to get onto you. It's like, why are you doing this crap? It's like that. Yeah, but anyway, but it works out well for Bruce. And Bruce, how old do you have to be to start with your apprenticeship?
I think it's 18.
18.
Damn it!
Oh, really?
Wanted that boy to be able to, start out earning me with it. The time he was 20.
But if he gets with a local company, he could get on as a drain clog cleaner, which I think is 17. So
Okay.
he could start getting his hours accrued for it, and then when he gets an apprenticeship, those hours carry over. Bam, and now he can start working on that. And I'm telling you, the electrician and plumber idea is perfect because the new systems require more understanding of electricity than what you used to have. Basically, before I had to have an idea of physics, how do I make it flow downhill?
And a drain clog remover. You're talking about like key and U traps, right?
Yeah, like that's it.
People
Can
pay
you
money
change
to
the
have
seal?
someone clear those?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
especially restaurants and stuff.
Sometimes I do, to be honest.
Well, that makes
restaurants
sense.
have
Commercial
to.
properties,
I hate
yeah.
plumbing.
Does it
And
make
sometimes
sense?
like just paying is not like I fucking hate dealing with that, and just like paying is not like it's worth the asshole not to deal with that, right? Just like
Well, with
depending
restaurants,
when you have money, you can just say, yeah, man, I'm just gonna fucking pay like a fucking dumb guy to come and do it for me.
I get what you're saying, but going back to restaurants have to because of the health board. They need a paper trail because if somebody gets food poisoning for one reason or the other, they're going to start looking at fucking everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the paperwork, you're shut down the next fucking day.
Thank you, Law Dog.
As soon as you said the word restaurant, it clicked in my brain and it made perfect sense, right? There are commercial properties, whether they're
Oh, yeah.
restaurants or other businesses, that have requirements that have to do this. They have more complex drain systems. I'm like, all of a sudden it makes sense. I'm like, oh yeah, of course that
Well, see,
pays well.
When I was in Chicago, I think that plumber, because I was renting, it was broken up to 3. It was one of those houses, I guess those brownstones, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, it was broken up to 3 levels, and I lived in the middle one.
Brownstones.
And the couple above me, her husband was he was a plumber, and I almost never saw him because he was just working almost nonstop. And I don't know how much he was making. He was making well over 200,000.
I try to talk my kids, at least Laszlo and Corbin. Well, me and Corbin are about ready to have a conversation of the uncomfortable kind. But try to talk Laszlo and Corbin and doing trade schools. I love college, don't get me wrong, but college, everybody should be able to go to college, but not everybody should go to college, has always been my standpoint.
Not everybody should be able to go to college. You shouldn't even need to be smart to go to college. And most people are not.
Well, here's
College
my
should be
point
for the elite, the intellectual elite.
Well, no. Here's my problem with college. College is a bunch of useless classes that you take that have nothing to get you another job. And guess what? If you want to get a degree in history, go to Amazon, buy 200 books, read one a week, and you will be better educated than if you had gone to college in history.
I don't disagree with that. getting at was I was trying to get him to go into
Yeah.
trade schools. Trade
Oh yeah.
schools,
Oh yeah.
6 months,
Yeah.
6-month program, get licensed for plumbing as one. Let's say back to plumbing,
But
and then you have to put in your hours. But
Well, an apprenticeship pays. I mean, I
yeah,
looked up here locally is their, apprenticeships pay. I was like, I was having a discussion with one guy. He's like, "Would you rather your son be a tradesman or be a Harvard graduated lawyer?" I said, "Okay," and I did the math, and I showed by the time that his kid graduated with a law degree, my son was already about $500,000 to $800,000 ahead of his son.
and without having to pay back the student loans, that will.
Oh, go. So, what, nurture?
So I decided to Google real quick,
Yeah.
just to show how useless a college degree is. Only 73% of people making over 200 grand a year have a college degree.
Well, it depends on where you are. Well, I mean, and it's not, for me, like I said, I enjoy engineering, and I think a lot of people, but you're not going to become rich in that for the most part, unless you can do software development, because, they're like, well, okay. I mean, I can probably make, I think the most I ever made, and that was going over
also, like,
2
nerds,
years, 200,000.
that's a dishonest question, because like the question is that like how many people making over $200,000 make like have a college degree. The good question is how many with a college degree makes over 200,000.
I think you need both. But every time I hear this come up, people are so one-sided in their opinion of it. It's either you need a college degree or you're going to be broke for life, or it's all college is fucking useless. And like
There's a
the
lot of
answer is
college
much
that
more
is fucking
nuanced than that.
useless. Yeah, no,
It's
obviously there is, right?
It's more nuanced, but it depends on what you want to do. The problem I have with it is don't send your kid to college if they don't know what the hell they're going to do with their life. Number
Yes.
one.
Why
And then
is college-
How many people go to college instead of getting a job? They're out of
Yeah,
high
I
school
think-
and they're told they need to do something. They say, "Oh, go to college instead."
I think it's very worthwhile too. Like, if you're not sure what you want to do in college, go fucking do a trade for 6 months, right? Or for a year.
Yeah.
And then like you can figure it out and do the college afterward, and then you can work that trade while you're in college, like on the side or some shit like that, right?
go join
And,
the
like,
military for a bit. They'll
well,
pay
I
for.
wouldn't. I don't support that, but that's a different story.
Well, you've got Nerd, you've got Bruce, you got myself.
Yeah.
We've all been in the military, but
Yeah, but I'm.
Yeah, and I also tell most people not to join.
I do too. I tell them not to join unless there's something very specific. If my son was going to do the military, I'd say,
Yeah.
okay, make sure you put a prime beef or one of those that's going to give you specific trade skills.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
It was so funny getting out, and some of my best buddies were on. So I was on a Marine Expeditionary unit with a bunch of Marine Raiders and some infantry elements, right? And
Yeah.
like all of them got out, and they were like, they had no fucking life skills. Some of them literally went to bit. One of these guys, he was a Marine Corps Raider, Special Forces, total fucking badass. He was like fucking gas station clerk for 3 months after he got home because he couldn't find a job.
Oh, I know. I remember. Yeah, I know. And then it's like, well, what are you going to do? And of course, you have to also determine your leadership. That's what I said is, if you can go in, make sure you know specifically what you want to do. Make sure that you have a lot of other stuff. And that's the problem with it is, if you're kind of directionless, okay, fine. But my suggestion is, if you're going to go in the military, then in that case, go National Guard, or something like
Yeah.
that.
I tell
And then-
people go Air Force.
Yeah.
Everyone
Oh,
wants to join the Marine Corps because that's the cool shit. And I'm like, okay, you're an adult now. You have to come up with a fucking plan. And learning how to kick in doors and shoot people does not translate to a life skill. Join the
Unless
Air Force,
you
get a tech skill, get a piloting skill, do something that translates.
I got a couple
That's the
friends.
thing. I had a boss at Terminix that before he became a Terminix guy, he was a pest control technician for the Air Force. So he was trained by Air Force people, and he was given like a 6-year degree within like the 2 years of his initial like E1 through E3 time in the Air Force. And he got promoted pretty fast to like E5 before he got out after his tenure. But he was one of the smartest pest control technicians I've ever met in my life. He really got deep into the bug mentality. And because of that, I've been able to live in an apartment pretty comfortably. Even though all my neighbors have problem with cockroaches, I just have to sweep out the dead ones from the cabinets.
I mean, to be fair, nothing is more in tune with the mindset of a useless fucking worm than like someone in the Air Force.
And just to be clear, I don't have like a problem with I don't have a problem with I'm not a pacifist, right? I don't have a problem.
No. I know what you mean. It's
I am.
really,
I just don't like what the military is doing now, like politically, right? I'm just not aligned with I don't think the mission that they're going on now, like it's worthwhile, right? Just like I'm just ideological.
Well, this is why what we're saying is if you can go in, make sure that you get a job skill that you can use outside of the military. That's why I said it's like the prime beef things and things like that, which I was looking at my son for doing stuff is like, okay, son, they'll get you your electronics training and everything else, especially if you're young and you want to go travel, you want to go do all that crap and then stop and say, okay, but you want some job skill when you get out. What she's talking about is like when you're in infantry, man, it's like, okay, what can you do with that? that's a lot harder.
Did any of you guys see the old Pauly Shore movie In the Army?
In the Army now? Fuck yeah.
Maybe it could involve Pauly Shore.
Well, I bring that movie up because he lost his job. Anyways, he joins the service, realized that he had a career. He knew how to do something, which was basically turn bad water into good water because he worked for his uncle who owned a pool company, whatever. Yeah. Did it in the service for however long. Then at the end of the movie, had his own watering filter company afterwards. I mean, it's a Pauly Shore movie, but it's like this movie kind of makes more sense than most of the other fucking movies that he's ever fucking made, except for Encino Man, because that was the best movie ever.
I mean, that also had Brandon Fraser to be true.
Yeah. Oh, so did In the Army. Most of Pauly Shore movies, Brandon Fraser has showed up in at one point, and always playing the same character, Link.
So, but the other part is if you can get the veterans benefits and stuff like that, and then you can get that for, especially if you're going to be, services or anything else for contract once you leave the military. That's
welfare queen.
Well, a lot of the benefits of the military are not while you're in the military. It's after you leave after 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years. That's what you.
A couple of my buddies, once they got out, this was probably about a decade ago, they got out of the service. It's like, I don't know what we're going to do next. Then they joined, Red Pyramid or private security. And they live actually pretty good fucking lives. They're never home, but their wives look great. Their wives and kids have great lives.
You know what? Yeah. When I was a lad, and they were doing those carrier day, right, at school, and they asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to be a puppeteer, and they laugh at me and they say, "You're a fucking idiot. You're gonna end up like being working in a fucking shop or some shit, right?" And then I made a career being a fucking animator. So fuck you. That's basically as close as you can get, right?
The most popular answer when I was in high school was, "What do you want to do after high school?" I want to go work at Caterpillar.
Oh, really?
And I'd rather go fucking shoot myself. I wanted to get the fuck out of Peoria, and I did for a while.
No, I think I achieved my. I think I came close enough to my dream of youth.
You could have ended up in Mexico if it hadn't been for Trump. Let's go.
Sí, señor. No, I'm good. No, fucking cooking wasn't even my main hustle. COVID happened, and I got an opportunity to do cater a fucking party, and turned out to be a thing. And I was a private chef for a while, which I'm about ready to do again because I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For another gig, don't fight with the boss now. Don't fucking start making snarky remark.
Oh, stay out my fucking kitchen.
I mean, but no, Bruce. I know that's what's, that's the other part though. Is, man, you can get those trades, and the other thing that gets me is these people who don't want to work. I don't
want to work. What do we fucking talk about? I don't want to fucking work.
Nobody wants to work.
No one wants to work.
Wait, do you guys know what I do for a living? I got fatter. I fatter since I got into it. Like, that really shouldn't have happened, but I did. Granted, I also turned 50. But I'm also saying that, no, if you get into the trades, quote unquote, yeah, I'm kind of a part-time plumber, but mainly I'm a truck driver, and I shuttle things from point A to point B to unload them. And in the process, I've learned about plumbing. I've gotten into composting, started learning about some really cool stuff. High-dollar composting is what we're getting ready to step into. And when I say high-dollar composting, I'm saying that Our ringleader, he's going to make millions in his lifetime. That's all I'm going to say, because we've got already the agreement set up with the people at King Ranch and other places.
King Ranch. Oh yeah.
We've got Nestle on the docket. We're going to start doing some work for them. And if we get their vitamin water contract, all the worms we use, the red wigglers. Okay. For those of you that live up north, you're going to say earthworms are the best thing for your soil. Earthworms are okay, but you want to put in red wigglers as well. The red wigglers, earthworms will go down about a foot before they start to actually take the soil and to turn it into something else. This is why they sell tillers so easily in Illinois, Ohio, Iowa. Red wigglers will go down an inch to 6 inches. And that's where they start to do their work to fertilize the soil. They're smaller. And so you can pack more of them in a square foot. And so you have a better nutrient base for your plants.
How many can you pack per square foot?
You could probably have an average between 150 and 200 per square foot.
Per square foot? No shit.
Or, no. Are you talking cubic
foot? In a cubic foot, about 150 to 200.
For a cubic foot? Oh, hell no. You can put a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah, but for them to be propagating at operating level.
Blend them up first. Can you fit more?
You could stack them as much as you want there, sweetie.
How many can you put in an ashtray?
We haven't tried that yet.
Sorry, Mr. Max was here. I thought somebody should make that joke.
No, there's a worm company that specifically does that, I think, in Austin. And you guys are going to be going in Bear County because you only go a certain distance when you start looking at stuff. But, my city does the local composting. And I've been buying the compost for $5 to $15 a cubic yard. And that's a lot better than and here's the thing is, and of course people are like, oh, but the compost is from the wastewater treatment plant, and then they mix it in with the most. But I was going, you know what? By the time anything grows in 4 to 5 years, all that stuff is dead. So I'm not even worried about it. It's like, okay. That stuff worked really well for growing my trees. I'm like, okay, it's going to take them 4 years before they produce fruit. I only need to put that compost down once. And then I found worms on my own property, like you said, and they're pretty big. They're probably.
Are they about as thick as your pinky?
Yeah.
Not that thick. They're probably the size of a straw.
Like this brush.
Maybe a little bit thicker than your brush.
Okay. More than likely, those are red wigglers. If you can find a supply of those, either like a pet store or some place like such, I would recommend that because you get like three sales amounts, whatever the volume is they sell them in, like a dozen or 50 or 100. Get like 3 of those containers, put them around your trees, and watch things take off. The only problem with red wigglers is that they're shallow, and so birds, you have to have a huge amount at first so they can start propagating, because otherwise the birds will kill them off.
Well, and see the other part that you're talking. Go ahead. Sorry.
And say, you seem to be kind of an expert on worms, so I actually have a question for you. This came up last week. I found something in my backyard. It was a worm. It was about as big around as my thumb at the tail, maybe as big around in my wrist at the thickest part, and it ate my kid's mouse. Any idea what kind of worm that could be?
It's called a snake.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
See you later.
It's late here. Take care, guys.
Have a good night, Max. God bless, man.
There's composting worms in Austin, which I just brought up. But there's how many? Let's see. And for 1,000 of them, they're saying it's $50.
That's a good price.
But there's 2 groups of worms actually in there. There's another one in there that's, but like you said, there's the one that I found that goes to about 6 inches, and those are the ones that we were digging up whenever I was putting in the trees. But then there's a group that goes down like a couple of feet, which is supposed to be even better for that.
The earthworms will typically go down at least a foot before they start to actually propagate, and that's their typical habitat. We call those night crawlers up north.
Yeah. Well, there's like 2 different versions of the worms there, but like you said, and I used to find, I guess they're only selling one now, but they used to have more. But then, like you said, the worm castings and everything else. Yeah, if you can get a lot of that stuff, and man, it used to be free that you get manure. Do you know how much they're selling that for now? It's like $60 a cubic yard.
Yeah.
If I wanted to buy manure, and not saying that I do, there is a place next to me, a little bit further down the road. They train and ride horses or give horseback riding lessons, and they sell their manure for like I want to say about $20.
That's all because I'm saying when I'm going over these dairies and stuff,
Yeah,
they're going for $50 to $60.
they're like selling it for like $20. Granted, they maybe only have up to like maybe 10 to 15 horses, so it's not going to be a great deal.
Yeah, but like I said, here there's just this stuff used to be able to get the stuff for free, and now it's just skyrocketing in cost. That's why I said I can buy the compost from my local thing, and the guy that I bought my meat from, he only charged me $75 for delivery fee. Right? No, I think it's $100. It's $100, and I usually get like 9 cubic yards or so at once. And my mother, I got her some the mulch. And I was paying $6 a cubic yard for the mulch, and I had to pay $75 for delivery. So,
my mom, I love my mom. Don't get me wrong, but when I was a teenager, she always had to have the best like flower bed in the neighborhood. She was one of those people. And I'm like, I'm not wasting good time and good money on expensive fucking weeds. Like, these are not weeds, these are flowers. I'm like, they're weeds. Anyways, during the summer, our fucking front yard smelled like fucking chocolate. It drove me up the damn wall.
Okay, so this was the other one I saw was the this one's in Georgetown, and they've got red wigglers and the European night crawlers, and they go in two different how deep they go. So, but God, 5 pounds of these suckers, it's $155.
It's really a good price. How big's your yard?
36 acres.
You'll use it. It'll turn into something different for you.
Well, here's the big part. Is the part where I'm putting in my trees, we aren't tilling. I'd like to switch it over to a no-till system specifically because the area that's being tilled, it just cuts the worms to pieces. But on the edges, that's where I'm finding all the worms. And man, they're doing a pretty good job out there. I'll go out tomorrow because it's been so muddy. I tend to avoid it, but when it gets this time, I'll see how my trees are doing along with the jujubes. I'm surprised jujubes don't sell really well. It seems like those should be the things that really you should find in markets all over the place, and they're just no one eats them. They even named the stupid fruit after the candy after jujubes because they used to be made with jujubes, which tells you how long they've been here in the U.S. and no one does it. And I can't find anything like. I'd love to get some pawpaws if I could, but I don't think they grow that well where I am.
All right, well, I think I got to call it a night as well. It's good hanging with y'all, though.
Really quick before you go, nerds, I've decided when I'm hanging out with you and Bear, Malachi has to be there. If I keep my mouth shut, I'm golden.
You need the buffer zone.
Yeah, no shit. All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, I'll see y'all.
Later.
Yeah, but Bruce, I mean, if you're getting that composting, I mean, that's a good deal. But like you said, man, when I start hearing people, and like once you start your own business and you become, a master plumber, and then you can start getting people under you. Yeah, it's
the income's unlimited at that point. I won't hit that because I don't have enough time to become a master plumber and actually know everything I need to about all this stuff.
How far are you along? I thought that you have enough hours.
I've got the hours for a tradesman, and then I would need another 2,000 hours to do a week's test for my journeyman.
Okay.
But right now, I'm earning a really good keep just transporting. And if we get into some other contracts, I'm going to have to gravitate into a fleet manager position because we'll have a fleet. Yeah. And I'll also be doing this along with dispatching other drivers and sending them to various places around Central and South Texas. So things kind of get a little bit conflicted a little bit. So my time being able to be a plumber will be impacted. I do have master plumbers and my network, and getting them to go somewhere is just a matter of, hey, if you guys could go take a look at this, we've already quoted them this price here and said you're free to add on any excess charges should the problem be more than what this initially seems like it is. And they love that because I usually bid their services for 3 hours at $750.
Yeah. $250 an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I said is, and I always figure that they get about a third of that as take home. I mean, that's a good deal.
Oh, these guys, they're not even mine. They're just some dudes I know from my old job that they went independent, and they're some of the best plumbers I've ever seen. They can actually fix stuff, unlike the master plumber I had at my old job, which he would just propagate a problem, and he would never fix anything. I have a real problem with my former employer.
I mean, I was talking to my mother, and she's at that point, especially since my father's in the nursing home now, where it's like, okay, we'll just fix things. And she's like, look, I don't mind paying the money for stuff. I just want it to be clean, that the job's fixed the first time. And if it costs more money, she'd rather just get it done then.
Smart lady.
Well, that's true. And then the other part is, and it sounds funny, but this is absolutely important. Well, she goes to her knitting circle of all these other ladies that are in their 70s and 80s and 60s, 70s, and 80s. And they're like, well, who would you recommend? And that word of mouth goes around, and it's people forget about that, and especially if you have a group of people who are just like, just fix it. We'll pay you more. And in fact, I've heard the best thing to do is raise your prices high enough that you don't have to deal with the people that want to nitpick you on price. They just want it fixed. And it's like, oh, okay. And they're like, gee, I raised my price. They got rid of 80% of my troublesome customers.
When people start negotiating price with me, I just kind of like, pull out your phone. Let me show you on Amazon what you need to buy, because this is what is, you need to do this. And I'll give them an option that's 30% of what I would charge. Yeah. And like, buy this, put this in play, and we'll, see you down the road. If things break, we can always come back and try to work it a different way. But you're wanting to negotiate on price. We really don't have variance right now because diesel's still $3.50 a gallon. So I do that, and then like we get a call a day or two later. I think I fucked up, and okay, well, I mean, do I still get that price? So this guy was like wanting 500 gallons pumped for $250, but he was 30 miles outside of where we were. And I'm like, I'm going to have to charge you for fuel. And he didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, here's a number for a guy that's in your area. See if he can fit you in. And I haven't heard from him since then. And I'm not really worried about it because, like, when I first went to his house to look at things, it was going to require a little bit of labor, which I'm okay with. I'll take the exercise. But then the guy started talking about all this other problems. I'm like, listen, I'm just here for this. And if you need this taken care of, I can get you a plumber. And he kind of quieted down after that. But then his wife called, and she wants to talk about the problems I just shot down with him. And I realized I should have been talking to her the whole time. She wants me to do it for cheaper. And I'm like, no. We are giving you a discount. I would charge normally $450 to $500 on what we're getting ready to do here. And you're trying to take me down to where we're at cost. I can't do that.
Well, a lot of times I just ask, not that I argue too much. And, I like, look, you can give me a good deal. That's fine. I've told, like when I was trying to install my entrance, which is a little bit different from this, the guy was like, well, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to get a crew. I said, look, you give me a cut rate. My son and I will come out there and act as your crew. I know how to order concrete too, but you have to do all of this other stuff. I said, but you need someone to screed and stuff like that. I said, I can do that. I can bring my son with me. He's like, oh, okay. But he was taking too long. I was like, just get it built. Get it built. I'm not going to argue too much. And I said, just break down your cost. And, I might say, man, that's higher than I was expecting. They're like, well, that's what's going to cost. I said, well, okay, let me think about it. And I'm like, look, I pay you on time. I will pay you half up front if you can get everything going, and I will pay you within a week from the time you've finished. We're not going to fight with me, and they've been quite happy to work with me because of that. So, and that, whenever people want to talk, it's like, show me the money. If you show them money, like, okay, that's what I'm going to pay. And I think he'd be quite happy if he worked for me again because he knows you'll get paid. And I've had some of them like, pay me whenever it's convenient. I said, I will pay you tomorrow. Just I don't want to have to remember it. Yeah, I'm
We
not
have a lot
gonna.
of customers that are like that, actually.
What's that?
We have a lot of customers that are like that, actually. Listen, I don't have my checkbook here. Can you come by tomorrow and give me the bill? I'll pay you right there with a check. Sure.
Yeah.
And we don't have any problems. Check deposit's fine, no issues. Then we get these guys that are like, we have this guy, he's a self-proclaimed investor. We get to his house and he's got a reflecting pool going to his jacuzzi.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, they're like, really, you have a reflecting pool? This is garbage. And then the guy started complaining because when he's like, well, can you just pump it? Yeah, we can do that. That's what we're going to do. And it turns out that he doesn't have a 2,000-gallon tank. We find out it's a 4,000-gallon tank because that's what my meter in my truck reads.
Yeah.
And he got really upset. He's like, I thought it was only 2,000 gallons. I'm like, I don't know what you were doing before, but here's what we have for the video of the meter before, and here's what we do for the meter during. I showed him the video for that, and here's the picture of the meter after we're done, still parked on your property. You guys had a lot of water? Oh, we had to. You hadn't cleaned it out in 5 years, so there's sludge at the bottom. But we got everything in there, and here's photos and video of the tank. Everything was clean. You could see the corners. It was great. And he was really upset. It took us 30 days to get the money out of him. And, he was like, well, this is really going to put a crimp on my business. I'm like, we can put it back. And he really did not like that. If I can avoid working at that site, I'll do it because I have no problem charging him $2,500. But unfortunately, that's a family member, from what I understand.
Oh.
So we are stuck at a rate that I do not want to work for. But whatever, I'm still paid my hourly rate, so I'll do it.
I mean, Bruce, what you just mentioned that, but yeah, like I said, it's my son. We were sitting down in October. I said, well, son, electricians make decent money. And I told him he could stay with me and live for free as long as he's working 50 hours a week. And people are like 50 hours. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I said because I want him to get that work ethic in him. And
I get it, but trying to find a job that will give your kid 50 hours a week is a trick.
Well, if you're an electrician or
that's if
yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying
most jobs don't hire you on for 50 hours a week is what Connell's saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I agree.
Oh yeah, get 2 jobs, then you'll never see his kid again.
Hey, you know what?
That's okay.
Well, no, I mean, you're looking at that boy. It's just like when people talk about welders. I have a cousin of mine. He refused to get a GED, and they were going to offer. I forgot what it was like. Starting was like $38 an hour, but you had to have a GED, and he refused to do it. Like, what are you doing? It's a GED. It's not a big deal. And he had the welding. I think this was for the military stuff in Mobile for welding. And it's like, look, there are jobs out there if you can get like you said, if you can get the work, whoever you work with, just start doing it. Get those hours in as much as you can, and work your ass off till you're 35, and then sit back with a house and your jet ski and your boat, and then would say, I can work at Walmart from now.
I mean, as of right now, I'm lucky if I get 35 to 36 bucks an hour. I'm 30, but the hours within a week.
Well, by my understanding is when you start, because I've worked with a lot of guys that in the trades, for construction, those guys are putting in 50 to 60 hours a week pretty consistently.
Yeah, it really just determines on what your fucking career choice or what you fall into is.
The negative about the trades, I have to say this because I don't want people to think that it's all sunshine and roses. Your back, it only lasts so long if you're doing heavy labor. And in my vocation, being a driver, you have all these billboards where you're driving around that people are told by some guy in a nice suit that there's millions of dollars for you to make. All you got to do is get hit once, and I can get it for you. So I have people trying to engineer accidents. I got to get another dash cam because the previous one I had just really isn't making me too happy with it. It'll record but you have to finagle with it. There's some other types out there that are constantly recording over previous material until you dictate, I need these 30 seconds, and then it'll actually save something for you. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to have in my cab with me.
Well,
But
and I agree with you about the physical. I've talked to electricians. A lot of them have a carpal tunnel by the time they're in their 50s.
yeah,
Though there are ways of mitigating that. It's those are certain
look
parts.
what I do for a hobby. This fixed my hands.
Oh well, that's great. No, I mean, at the end of the day, and I just look at it. It's like, look, like you said, it's hard labor. You got to work hard. If you're willing to bust your ass, then you can do pretty well. But it's not one of those. If you want to sit back and not have to, yeah, it's not. But man, I'll tell you this much. I look at the number of people on psych medications, for depression, and it's a lot higher for people that seem to work in the office than those that work in construction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well you're outside, you're getting vitamin D. I mean,
I think the sunlight has a big part of that. I really do.
Well, I know during COVID, all the guys I dealt with, if they even tested positive, they were just like, it was a minor, annoying cold for, that hung around a little bit. I lost my sense of taste or something. It was all the people that seemed to be indoors that were just getting wiped out. And that's where I saw the engineers getting hit a lot harder. And, when I noticed that, to be fair on this, when I noticed the engineers making money, it's usually when they've retired and they work a second job doing the exact same thing they were before. So, they get government retirement, and now they go work doing the exact same job for a private company, and then they'll work until they're like 70. But yeah, I saw someone was doing a calculation for the UK, and they said I think it may have even been a lawyer. By the time that it averages out, that the lawyer pulls ahead, it's almost when the plumber is 60 or 65. Okay.
I can believe it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, what does you have to enjoy it? You do. And if you hate your job, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're not going to do that good of a job, and it's not going to, especially if it's hard manual labor. It's like, okay, I'm going to do the scrap.
I looked at lawyer for about 3 years, and I went and did some pre-law classes when I was a cop in training, because I almost became a police officer. And man, I'm so happy I avoided that, because I don't there's like 6 cops that I went, and I was, during my internship, I had to ride along with them. And out of those 6 cops, 4 of them are dead. 2 of them because of prostate cancer, and the other 2 from pancreatic cancer.
Oh man.
I think that's the fucking water in Decatur, Illinois, though. And then the other 2 guys are on so many pills and depression meds that they had to change their entire existence, move out of the city, get a country life in a little hovel of the crappy location. But because they're more in nature now, they're not as so directly affected by all the depression they had. A lot of the other cops that I never interned with or never hung out with, suicide is taking over. And this is the guys that they were active duty cops in 2005 and 6. And here it is just 20 years later, and so many of them are no longer with us. So.
I saw, as much as they talk about the military, and you see a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, what's going on? And of course, no one really wants to talk about, rates of divorce and stuff like that and how that impacts people. It's like, well, if you really, so yeah, it's, I think that all too often people forget about there's that psychological toll. And it's funny because when people start working manual labor, it seems like their moods improve so much. Well, no, that is when you start doing construction or other things, you can tell when your job is done. It's just not more paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this or I've done that. And
And with you being an engineer, like it looks like you've kind of conquered a lot of the problems I've seen other engineers have because you've managed to keep your mindset fairly on the level. Like we have friends that they have office jobs and they're on SSRIs, they're on fucking weight loss medication. They have one bad week or they have one bad argument with a supervisor, and next thing you know, like they're gaining 30 pounds again, they're hitting depression. You know who I'm talking about. And it's just like trying to get them to pull their head out of like this negative space is a fight, and they're just fucking constantly fucking in it all the time.
Well, and it depends on what you're. Well, and to be fair, is I do work for the government, so my stress is a little bit different than a lot of these other guys. Um, so, um, sometimes and this is where you have to like decide where you're going to be and what you're going to do.
Pick your battle.
Well, it's not just pick your battle; it's also at the end of the day you gotta pick something where you don't feel like you're compromising who you are. I've seen a lot of good engineers because they want the job, because they have to have the job, do some fairly unethical things. It's like, look, there's a law here, especially since I work on dams. Why are you doing this? Well, we didn't want to do this. Well, the developer did this. The developer did that. Okay, so we have to call you out. We have to get, literally pull, they're going across easements and other stuff like that. Like we'll ask permission after the fact. Like, no, you're not asking permission after the fact. And, that's, but I think that the other part too is, like a lot of people are freaking out about losing their jobs or potentially losing their job because of Doge and the rifts and things. I said, I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan. I said, I can go work long hours if I have to. It doesn't mean I want to, but I can do it.
That when he was jacking up the tariffs, food wise was going to get interesting for the restaurant business.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're, like you said, what you're doing, but there's certain things you can't get, especially with like spices and things. I said, well, okay, I can afford some of that, but you're right. But some of the stuff I'm looking at, like, why in the world are we importing this anyway?
Well, there's an Asian market I'm going to here in Peoria, and with that 128% tariff
on China,
from China, I'm like, that place is going to be having their grand closing here soon.
Well, I get mad about because I live pretty close to Louisiana. Well, I only live about 2 hours away from where Bruce is, but yeah, like when I see crawfish, why are we pulling them from Thailand? I mean, we got plenty here in the United States.
You have to do is drive an hour and a half away, and you can get some like by the ton.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but when it takes, look at the average pencil. The way it's worked, it's the way we have it work. You have to go that for all the material comes from 3 fucking countries to make one pencil.
Well, some of it's because of regulations. This is what really aggravates me because they all talk about rare earth metals. We have plenty of places in the United States that can do it. They've put the regulations in that we can't do it here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because we want to trash somebody else's backyard. We don't want to trash our own.
Well, here's what it comes down to: is it's the people who are in DC and stuff. And like, oh, I don't want my hands dirty. Everyone should be a service industry. We don't want that dirty, construction stuff. I'm like, these were good jobs for middle class Americans where you didn't need a college degree. And most college degrees don't even teach you what's necessary. I said, as an engineer, I did, but I'll tell you this much because I was working at Dell previously. I actually took 4 years later after I graduated college, I was making less starting than I did as before I went back to college.
We can't go back to being a insulated country where everybody is.
Why not? Show me why not.
It might be a solution for a while.
It might be a solution, but when car companies, let's take car companies for example, right?
Okay.
because a lot of the CEOs are more money oriented than community oriented. They're going to move their companies to Asia, to Mexico, to third world countries.
Wait,
Where
but they already did that. They've already done
right.
that. So yeah.
But what's going to make? Why would they come back?
Because you have the market that won't buy your crap if it's the tariffs are too high. Why is Toyota in the United States? Toyota's in the United States specifically to avoid tariffs. And I know that Bruce knows that's they're building Tundras, which are generally only sold here in the United States.
Yeah, no other country buys Tundras like the United States does.
Yeah. I mean, what was that car company out there by Bloomington, Bruce?
Mitsubishi?
Yeah, they're gone. There's somebody else now. It's Rivington or something like that. Yeah.
I have no idea. I didn't realize they had packed up everything and left.
Oh, yeah.
I knew they were having trouble.
Caterpillar's
Mitsubishi's the worst fucking car out there in the Japanese market. I wouldn't drive a Mitsubishi unless I saw 2 oil leaks on it. Okay, because it's like a Chinook. If it doesn't leak, it's going to crash. It's going to have a failure somewhere.
Well, I mean, I saw the same thing with when they were talking like, what's going to happen is one of two things happens. Either they move back to the United States, they take a cut in their profits, which is what a lot of companies do, or they're just not going to produce it anymore. And then for your luxury products, they don't care what the price is. The price is what makes it desirable in the first place.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. There for a hot second, there was. Well, Illinois is already horrible when it comes to tobacco, and there's already a 35% more tax on cigars than there is on cigarettes, and then you cannot grow. You can. Let me rephrase that. You can grow the tobacco leaf that we want for cigars here in America, but we have the wrong soil. It won't do well here. So
yeah. I'm not against things being imported if we can't produce them here locally. Vanilla, pepper. Apparently, you can grow saffron here because they're growing up in Canada, oddly enough. But
really,
yeah. But a lot of times, the labor is so expensive that it's hard to get. But yeah, I saw someplace in Canada, of all places. But there's also, I know that there's some in Spain. It's not that we can't produce certain things, but yeah, coffee, chocolate. There's several things I said, okay, at those point, if you have to, then you can say, okay, we're going to reduce the tariffs on those goods because those goods we can't produce in the United States. What pisses me off is the goods we can produce in the United States and they ship overseas and then say, well, guess what? You can be on welfare, but your TV's, half the price. Like,
Trust me, I get it. I get it. There's parts of Peoria where I'm not trying to be that kind of asshole, but I'm going to end up being that one. Where you go to these poor areas in Peoria where you see a brand new SUV and like 7 kids running around in the fucking front yard, and the house should have been torn down like 10 years ago.
Well, but I'm talking about if you look at just the hollowing out, and Bruce and I. I guess we're about 10 years older than you, Connell. We remember a lot of these areas when they were booming, even up into the 1980s, and they were like, they did talk about the car manufacturers, and really it was the tariffs because they were getting killed by Toyota, and they kept raising the tariffs, and Toyota said, you know what, we're going to build in Kentucky, which I was all for, and then then I think in the early 2000s, they said, hey, we're going to build trucks over in San Antonio.
That's the best market for it. I'm just going to say the fucking market for trucks down here in San Antonio is absolutely nuts because you get these dumb kids that have a certain culture and they feel like you're not a man if you're not driving this giant truck. Mind you, we can't drive a fucking standard shift over here, but if the kid can drive a fucking 3/4 ton truck, he's a man. He's going to be fine. Well, and it's just funny because everybody drives these oversized trucks, and the trucks kept getting bigger and bigger to avoid the CAFE standards. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but that's why the fucking Ford Ranger is the size of F-150 from 1978.
Well, see, this is what aggravates me so much is these, stop doing these damn CAFE standards, which hurt us. And having been overseas, I'm not saying that they went very fast, but you know, the Toyota Hilux was a great little vehicle for
I'd love a
this.
Hilux.
What's that?
I would love a Hilux.
Well, me too. I'm like, look, the thing can't go over 50 miles an hour really well, but
Yeah. I'm going to be that guy. I'd love to have an Aston Martin. That's never going to happen.
well, no.
But a Hilux costs $10,000.
Yeah, well, I'm more likely to get one of those. Oh,
Well,
but
the Hilux is super. Well, I mean, it was what, that old Ford Ranger, or I think it was the Toyota, which was the equivalent of Toyota, you know, from like the 90s, that was a lot smaller. It's like, look, that's what most people need. And, you know, work trucks have gotten so expensive. Like, look, all I really want is air conditioning would be nice and Bluetooth. I don't need all the super speakers. I don't need all of the fancy stuff. I said, I want a damn work truck. I want to be able to go in and get it muddy, and I don't care. And if it gets a big scratch on the side, I'm like, look, it's working on a farm.
I
Yeah.
like my car. I have a Saturn Vue 2000 and I think it's 9 Vue. It has a disc player, but I don't have any CDs. So I have a portable speaker that I attach to my iPhone. That's why. The only thing I wish that this car had, honestly, is I live in Illinois. We have this thing called winter.
You want heated seats?
I want ass warmers.
You,
I know
you know,
that's a small deal, but damn, if I could just go into a car and not freezing my ass off.
have you ever thought of putting a blanket over the seat?
It's not the
Are you
same.
serious? You can't go to a third-party shop and have them install heated seats for you?
Oh, I probably could. I'm just
Yeah, that's kind of common up north.
yeah.
I know that for a fact because over in Ozark, over in Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, there's plenty of guys with a shop that'll do that for you. And you like
As I said,
$400.
I'm cheap. Well, it's not that I'm cheap. I have a I have a kid, and that
Well, you know, when I am cheap, even when I can afford stuff, I'm driving a 12-year-old Toyota Avalon, and it's a great car. And I even told my mother, I said, considering all the crap they're putting on these newer cars, I said I would just be happy if just paying someone to upgrade whatever I need. Like, okay, hell, I'll put in a bigger engine so that thing can get like 400 horsepower if need be.
I mean, realistically, if it gets me from point A to point B, I'm happy.
That's
You
what I
know,
want for my work truck. Is I want it to be able. I'd like to have a 4x4 work truck.
I'm about to suffer some hate, but I love my new Subaru. It's not new by any means.
you're not
What's wrong
lesbian.
with Subaru? Everyone
I
I've
have a
talked to,
2018 WRX, not the STI. You don't want me to have that. But I've got a Subaru that's got like 240 horse, and I love just ripping through the gears in San Antonio. God, it's so much fun.
The only people I know that own Subarus are all lesbians.
You know, have you ever seen my hands? Look at these thick digits, dude.
I'm just.
are you saying that Bruce is a lesbian and he's just verifying that with his hands?
I'm a lesbian in drag.
Yeah, that makes so much more sense. I don't know. It's like this last year, I bought into the cigar lounge. I am a partner at Cigar Lounge slash shop. I don't know if it was a good investment, but fuck, I'm enjoying it.
Well, you know what though is if you're putting money in, it's just like with my farm. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a great replacement. You can sell off the property." In the meantime, I'm like, son, don't ever sell this property off. It's harder to buy property than it is to sell it.
That's one thing God's not making anymore. New land. Well, when He does, it takes. We're not gonna fucking see it in our lifetime.
Yeah. Well,
What happened? Oh, the continental shelf just completely shifted, and everybody that lived there before is dead.
There was a volcano in the middle of the ocean just exploded. Yeah, what happened? It made an island. When's that island going to be livable? A couple thousand years from now.
Hey. From someone whose family came from Hawaii, they're making new land every so often. It's just some of it's being taken away as well.
That's not making new land. That's just throwing some more tar on top of the road.
Well, that's one thing. Is somewhere my family has. I don't know how many acres my father owns. It's all part of a trust, unfortunately, and they've been trying to sell that for decades, and it just keeps getting the legal issues left and right. And it's not that the family doesn't want to sell it, but the lawyer who was supposed to manage it decided to embezzle money and just ran off with it, and it was like, oh my god. So I don't even know what's going on with that.
Well,
But
once my dad dies, which doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime fucking soon, with the amount of fucking ex-wives he has, Jesus. I technically have land. Well, I'll inherit a decent plot of land in Ireland, which I'm kind of looking forward to. It's like, peace, I'm out.
You may want to go clear your land from the Muslims because they've seemed to infested Ireland at the moment.
Yeah, I heard that. I recently heard that. I'm like, son of a bitch. It's always something. First it was the British.
first it's
No,
those
first
damn
it was the Vikings.
Protestants. It's those damn Protestants. No, yeah, it's those Anglo-Saxons, and then the Protestants, and then who else? Who else come over into Ireland?
Fuck you, Union Jack. I want my country back. Oh, so my daughter, who I love and adore, did chorus, and for some odd reason, the chorus instructors like pulled all the kids aside. It's like, I want you to sing a couple tunes just to see where you're at. My daughter knows some songs decently, but she's been raised with me most of her life, so she knows old Irish folk songs, right?
Yeah.
And most of the ones I sing are IRA related.
Oh, okay.
And so she starts singing one, and I get a phone call like the next fucking day. It's like, hey, your daughter was singing this song. She sounds lovely voice, but I don't catch the meaning of it. I'm like, what song was she singing? The Fields of Athlone Rye. I'm like, oh, yeah. Have her sing Seven Drunken Nights. It'll go over better next time.
Hey, well, the interesting part is I was looking at it, and not that I think it'll affect me or Bruce, but the demographic collapse, which everyone's ignoring.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm hearing things, and I don't know exactly on how much, but it doesn't seem unreasonable. But when people are like, oh, there are too many people in this world. Could you explain why China probably has been inflating its numbers for decades?
China, Russia, North Korea.
No. I'm talking about population. Population in Russia seems pretty reasonable, but as far as
I've been told they inflate their numbers. China, and like I said, well, the only country technically out there that has amazing numbers is India.
Well, India's been going up, but they're talking like China might have 500 million less people.
Oh yeah. Well, it was that one child law they passed that fucked them.
Well, exactly. Well, it didn't affect them until like now, and now they're like, it's too late. You're in that demographic death spiral.
If China really wanted to, they could get rid of us. It'd take them 3 generations. All they'd have to do is ship over 400,000 moderately hot women. Not even moderately hot, but just like women that understand like how to cook.
Have you been to, as I said,
they would breed the fuck out of us.
In Illinois here lately.
Take care of yourself, Law Dog. Good seeing you in here, man.
They've already started.
Oh, but I just find it funny for the whole thing is, you start looking at it and but if they lost 400,000 women, do you know how fast their population would decrease after that aspect?
Oh, it's just, be moving across the pond. China's no longer, we own China. We just use it for farmland. Where's your people, America?
Oh, but no, I mean, when you start looking at it and the rate of collapse, the United States is fairly steady, but, that's why the Germans imported all those Kurds. They'd be Turks is what they would call them, but they were all Kurds for the most part. And I remember in the early 90s, man, they were doing protests every weekend against Turkey. In Germany, so it'd be like Frankfurt. Oh, avoid downtown. They're having another protest with the Kurds. Do another protest here, do another protest there. And, that's why it's like, it's like, just get the hell out of there. We don't need to be the world's policemen. When you talk about isolationism, and I always laugh at that because the United States was founded on pretty much on isolationism and a willingness to trade. And what I mean by that is we kept our high tariffs and we're willing to sell our raw goods off. It's not like the United States isn't rich in material. Even even the what is it, the Iron Range. There's still plenty of iron ore up there. It's just cheaper to buy it from somewhere else. It's not like we can't produce our own crap.
No, and you're right. When I think of it, isolation, I know exactly, and you're absolutely right when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of the people. I mean, with social media, I'm talking to you who live in Texas. Granted, the three of us all live in the same state, but the few times, a few times, when I was talking to that guy from Australia, when I'm
Yeah.
talking to Victor, when I'm talking to people outside of our country, the idea fundamentally, people wise, when it comes to isolations, we don't deal with the outside world. Whatever the Finns are doing, we don't care. But social media, and Max had the right of it. We pay more attention to what goes over there than what's happening over here.
Well, you know why? It's because the people that are controlling a lot of the media. This is to be fair on this. A lot of the people
Murdoch.
controlling the media are, and I'm going to bridge like Jeffrey Sachs and everything. Because I saw this even when I was, Europe is so wonderful. Europe is so this. Europe is so this. I said, I was in Germany. The taxes were incredibly high. The Germans would complain. Now, people would say the elderly were happy with the healthcare system. But even when I was in Iraq and I was talking to Italians, they all complained about the healthcare system. And they said, man, I don't want to have to pay for this because I'm paying way too much in healthcare. I'm like, yeah, well, so am I. And then you look at what they're making. They're making like half of what they do in the United States.
The grass is always greener on the other fucking side.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that there are complaints everywhere, and it's like no one really wants to address a lot of issues. Like, here's the weirdest thing that still blows my mind. I can go to HEB and they have those drug aisles, just tons of it. My son got sick in Hungary, and I had to go and wait in an apothecary to get him like Sucrets, stuff for throat lozenges. Like,
Right.
really? Why do I have to go to? And what I meant by that is I had to get like an appointment. Well, it wasn't quite an appointment. I had to sit in line, go there. The pharmacist had to prescribe it to him, and I was like, "Why do I need this? I can self-diagnose my child if he has a sore throat."
It's a different. It's. I don't want to say apples and oranges. I don't even want to say it's a different world.
It's even it's even when we talk about for drugs. That's what I'm laughing at is you can't buy alcohol, but over there you can't buy unless you get permission to buy Tylenol.
No, I mean you're not wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Part of it is that they've overregulated it. I'm like, you don't need to overregulate everything. But yeah, but that was one of the funny things I went, just dealing with him. So it's like, oh, okay, fine, we'll go over here. And I like Hungary. I do like Hungary. I like Eastern Europe a lot.
Hungary's awesome. Hungary is like Poland light.
Well, you know what I also like? It's like they have good German food. They actually put spices in their food instead of German bland food. I hate German food.
Okay, the only thing that makes German food look spicy is Irish food. No offense, Connell. Irish food is boil the shit out of it for hours and then.
I swear, when I get down there, Bruce, because I am going to come visit you at some point, I am going to make you traditional shepherd's pie.
Okay.
And the word blandness is not going to fucking enter your mouth.
I'm going to mention this much. The problem that I have with a lot of it is it reminds me of my friend who learned how to cook. We're not saying for you, Connell, but her idea of food is that it had to be completely gray all the way through for the meat. And she's like, but I want to say, it's called medium rare. Like, well, why does your foods taste so much better? Because I use spices in it. No, I think that if you use like fresh garden vegetables and stuff like this,
Oh, there's a restaurant / culinary school in Amsterdam. It's Naomi Nomi, I think.
Okay.
And the head chef and owner has their own fucking garden in Outback where they go and get their own herbs and everything. Honestly, if we could go back in time, right? And stop the concept of fast food. Fast food was one of the death knells in America. I'm not going to say it's the death knell, but it's definitely, one of the four horsemen. And actually have restaurants that have gardens in their backyard. These restaurants are slowly popping up in America, but they're too woke. They're too hippie. They're too this. They're too that.
So there's there is that movement towards that. What I've noticed is there used to be a lot of that in like the 50s, 60s, like you said, with fast food. But man, I'll tell you this much: the fast food I used to get in the 1970s is nothing like it is now.
Oh
Uh,
no, I will
it,
argue
it's
that McDonald's sells vegan friendly food because those burgers are not real meat.
so I was in McDonald's in the 70s. I remember going in, and the food was like it was fresh ground beef.
Oh
And
yeah,
then in the 80s, it became hockey pucks.
Hmm.
And I went, what's been going on? And that's where Wendy's came in, and they said, oh, never frozen. I was like, okay, but some of it is just
yeah.
and I don't disagree, but I agree with you. It's more and more, I think, and this is one thing I do like about RFK Jr. is he's pushing more of that. And I've noticed more farmers markets. I've been noticing, but it's because until the more modern industrialized stuff and we're getting things all the way from overseas, I think it's ridiculous that we have fruit that's bought in Ecuador. It's shipped from Ecuador to China and then from China to the United States. And you're like,
Well,
how in the world is that even fresh?
well, if it was from Ecuador to America, that would be a different argument. Because of our growing season here in America, because depends
Oh,
on
no,
what
no,
part of
no. Yeah,
America
yeah.
you are. Getting food from vegetables from Mexico and South America, that means more opportunities to get fresh produce in the grocery store because our growing season is not as long as theirs.
Well, it's a seasonal thing. It's a seasonal, like okay, it used to be during certain times of the year you couldn't find certain fruits or vegetables,
Right.
and that was seasonal. But a lot of what I'm referring to is that if you actually look at the global shipping, they'll
Oh
they'll load
yeah,
up.
it's
Yeah,
like playing fucking ping pong. It's
oh,
fucking everywhere.
and I'm like, and again, I don't mind if we're going to have tariffs. To me, I know that my son's mother, she hates northern blueberries, just despises them.
Mhm.
Um, well, what she likes is what are called rabbit eyes, which are southern. And I heard all these people say, "Oh, blueberries are a northern thing," and I went, "I've been seeing blueberries in the South since I was, a young kid, but they're completely different. They're
Yeah.
completely
Different
different.
breed.
Yeah, they're different cultivar or whatever you want to call it. Um, and there's a lot of that, but a lot of the cultivars have disappeared as they've industrialized because that's one nice thing about when you go to Central Market, you go to which I know you're not familiar with, Connell, but Central Market, that's where we need to take you to because I think you'd really enjoy Central Market. It's like Whole Foods except for foodies, rather than people who feel guilty for being alive. Uh,
I like when I was living down in Nashville, Whole Foods is fucking expensive. I'm not going to say
right,
that
right.
it's not, but when I picked up one of their fucking tomatoes, in the back of my head, I was thinking, I wonder what color this was before they spray painted it. Where you go to like your grocery stores that are lower. I'm not saying lower
Yeah,
quality,
yeah.
but lower
Mass, mass,
standards.
mass, mass. I'd say mass supermarkets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this to my clients. I've told this to a few other people. Me and my mom argue about this all the damn time. Life is miserable enough. Your food shouldn't have to be.
If you look at my food budget, and admittedly my food budget's gone down, but that's because I stopped eating out, and instead I cook a lot more at home. But if you look at my real food budget, it was outpacing my rent. Um, you
Hey,
know,
I get it.
eh,
I get it.
so
No, I do plan on coming to Texas. I'm waiting for Bruce to get his own place so he has a guest bedroom because I do not want to be locked in a fucking hotel room.
yeah.
For the hour. Flying down to Texas doesn't bother me. It is not having a car, not being able to just tool around
Oh,
while
yeah.
my friends, Bruce, for example, or you're at work and I'm just stuck in a hotel room.
Oh no,
That
I don't blame you at all. Well, that's part of the reason that you're talking about this farm fresh stuff, and more of it's coming through. And admittedly, I work for the Department of Agriculture, so you know, it's not uncommon to find someone that says, "Hey, we have a half share of a cow to do this. We have apricots." You know, one thing that really gets me is because I'm thinking about when my grandfather was growing up. When my grandfather grew up, people planted fruit trees all over, and that include the cities. The cities had a lot of fruit trees and stuff, and people would pick them. You know, they'd grab the stuff off the tree, you know, for whatever's there, and that's all disappeared. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to have to deal with the fruits or stuff." And I said, "Well, I understand that, but man, you know, orange trees or you know, just of course, people here have no problems with pecans, but but my grandfather remembers getting yelled at for jumping over and picking tons of apples along with all the other kids from the local, you know, church. And now you look at stuff, it's like, you know, they're so worried about lawn maintenance rather than saying, "Hey, guess what? We can actually buy food. You know, we can get food locally, like from here." And
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting with the mass. I hate to say it, and I'm not really trying to go down that particular road, especially with Bruce here. Love you, Bruce. But with the
I
mass,
know he's gonna bitch about the fucking tariffs.
No.
No.
He's going to be talking about the migrants who pick farm.
Okay.
I assume that you're going to talk about. But
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, is I'll tell you this much: I had my friends that were doing that, you know, in their teenage years. You know, my son's age, a lot of white kids were doing that when I was growing up.
Yeah, but those same white kids, granted, those white kids have grown up and have their own family.
Yeah.
These immigrants were taking jobs that white guys, well, Americans just did not want to fucking deal with or do.
I'm gonna correct you on that, because if you actually look at like Cesar Chavez and a few others, they didn't want to do it for what people were paying. If you pay people more money, they'll do the job. That's what always bugs me, is that Americans won't do the job. I said, well, then why did my friends? I don't know if you ever heard like
Also,
Jerry Wright.
living was cheaper back then. I mean, the concept of a living wage is a myth.
The living wage was, well, I'm going to say this much. A lot of what I see people spend their money on, like, you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need this. And it's really that they expect a certain standard of living. I know Bruce and I, it's like, Bruce, did you ever have a cell phone when you were a kid?
We didn't have that until I was like 27.
Wait. I'm going to be that asshole, but did a cell phone exist when you were a kid?
Did what?
Yeah, we had bag phones, but
Oh, you're talking about the fucking brick, where you almost had to be like a millionaire to fucking own one out.
you had to have that, and you had to have a suitcase in your trunk with 10 numbers programmed into it.
Yeah, I remember those.
Well,
bag phone?
I mean, I remember racking up a $300 phone bill one time for calling. We're talking calling 40 miles away.
Well, fucking texting damn near killed me back when they used to charge me.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, look, I have, you know, like they were talking, like my son's mother is freaking out because she can't contact my son because on the farm, and I said, okay, get him a track phone. Do you know how much a track phone is? A track phone is $20, and the plan is $15 a month. That's cheaper than it was for my parents having a landline when in the 1980s. So
no, I get it. I have one burner phone on me at any. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But no, I mean, but you know, it's certain things that you look at. I remember coming back from what was it? It was either Iraq or Afghanistan. It was probably Afghanistan because my son was around and he was laughing as I was arguing with people. And they said all the stuff they had to have. I have to have cable. I have to have Netflix. I have to have this. I said, turn that crap off.
There's needs and wants. And
well. See, the problem is that people don't know the difference between the two. Just like, you know, when people talk about the food bill. Have you ever watched what is it, Financial Audit?
I've seen, yeah.
I mean, I look at what these people are spending on, and I'm like, well, first off, I can afford the stuff, and I don't buy your stuff. And it's just like there's that addiction. And don't get me wrong, I understand when people go into debt because of medical. I feel really sorry for those people. I understand if they get into a car wreck. I feel really bad for a lot of this. What's bugging me about this is I remember walking 4 miles And they used to be like, "Oh, I can't walk anywhere." Okay, fine. I'm a lazy, 50-year-old now. I
God,
don't want to walk 4
do
miles.
you
But I
know
used
how
to.
far our ancestors used to walk from point A to point B? Not to Z, but we're talking 10 miles a day just
Yeah.
for work.
Well, I used to work. So when I went to college, and this was in Germany, as much as people talk about their great, um, um, bus system and stuff, I said not where I lived. I had to walk about 2 miles to the train stop, hop on the train, drive in, and then I would walk around. And I figured out it was on weekends because I'd also go see my friend. I would be walking about 12 to 14 miles a day in college. And that was not an exaggeration. And that was with public transportation. I'm not saying that people need to do this because if you look at how much time I was wasting with walking in certain ways, but I just, when I look at what people have to have versus what they can buy, I said, don't get me wrong, there are certain things that I feel really sorry for people. The fact that eggs went up in price is ridiculous. That,
Just sharing a page about the eggs. Let me pop that back up again. Hold on.
oh, sure.
Or you need a bake loan to get fucking dozen eggs. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm in
Well,
the food business. Trust me.
yeah.
Go ahead,
But
Connell.
All right.
but I look at my friend who's 300. Okay, let's see. Oh,
How
oh,
many
they're back
eggs?
down. That's
5
nice.
packs dozen for $20. That's a hell of a fucking deal.
Let me show you what here's the normal pricing for this. Here's regular eggs.
$4.53.
Yeah, $4.53.
This is cage.
These are cage-free large brown eggs, but that's $4.53 for eggs. But 18. These are the Central Market pasture relay. These are the ones that he's talking about. The high dollar, 57 cents an egg. The double A cage-free large eggs, 38 cents an egg. And you can see they kind of vary between those 2 points. Central Market is higher dollar.
Well, Central Market is owned by HEB, but they're trying to get like I said, Central Market is competing exactly with Whole Foods, which is why you see the higher prices. But Central Market is for people that want their taste buds, want to enjoy eating their food, and Whole Foods are for people who want to do a plenary indulgence to the climate gods.
Right.
Here's the Hill Country Fair is 36 cents an egg for 18. That's a good price. And then down here, here's what I usually buy: the double A cage-free extra large brown eggs.
Yeah, that's what I bought. That's pretty good. I couldn't find the 30. I found the 18 where I was, but no, those extra large eggs, because I was trying to feed my son for the whole thing. It's like, look, I don't even like eggs. I'll use it in cooking, and that's about it. But his mother has chickens, but I have to laugh because having seen the eggs that her chickens lay and what we call large,
her
eggs. There was one which I don't think she has that breed anymore, but the egg was literally this long, and it looked like a teardrop because it was one egg.
Yeah. When I was younger and I was boxing, I did this stereotypical boxing diet, which involves 6 eggs in the morning raw, then in glass. I couldn't afford that these days.
Well, if you look at it, to be fair, by that point you're probably having 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, if not more.
Well, yeah. Well, I had to because of the amount of road work I had to do and everything else.
Well, that's what I mean. Is I remember eating 4,500 calories a day because I was working at FedEx, and I could not physically. I lost 20 pounds.
You want to talk about needs and wants? There's a place here in town called Alexander Steakhouse. Well, not in town; it's a town over. Yeah. It's popular. Their main attraction is you pick your cut of meat, and you can grill it here. You can make your own fucking steak.
Yeah,
I think it's bullshit. I personally.
I know. I'm not disagreeing with you.
The best burger and the best steak is the steak and burger you'd make for yourself. But my favorite cut of steak is the ribeye.
Okay, yeah, I like the ribeyes. I used not to, but the more I've liked the fat, the more I've liked them.
I'm paying anywhere from $13 to $15 for a ribeye.
Okay.
I used to be paying about $10.
I used to pay $10 a pound
Now
for
you go to
tenderloin. Yeah.
needs and wants. Do I need steak? No, I can get the protein out of, I don't know, let's say New York strip or a fucking hand of fucking peanuts, a handful of peanuts. But need says I need protein. I can get cheaper protein. I can get cheaper protein at the same one. What I want is the fucking steak.
Well,
What
no, I agree with you. But like for each, I was going to my parents who, they're in Florida, Northwest Florida, and I saw Publix, and Publix was fairly a lot more expensive than HEB for things. But even
Publix
when
is
I found,
expensive.
it was, but
So is Harris Tweeter.
well, well, Kroger owns Winn Dixie, but I didn't go there. But I can tell you this much: compared to the stuff that I was getting from, Walmart, I was like, I won't even touch Walmart because I actually like my food to be semi-fresh.
I like my food to be food.
Yeah, but I was going over there, and when we're talking about like ground beef and things, which there are a lot of things you can do to spice up ground beef.
Yeah, be
Stop.
careful with your ground beef though anymore. Quality of ground beef at grocery stores is not what it used to. I'd almost tell people to ground their own fucking beef shoulders. But I'm actually in a way asking more of people to do at home than what they're used to doing.
Well, so what I'm saying in this case is stop, especially now that they're finding that animal fat is not as bad as they used to, and they're still trying to freak people out. But I mean, stop buying the 90/10, which is the expensive sirloin. I said, go for I was buying 75/25. One is, man, those make better hamburgers anyway. They make better taco meat. And
flavorful.
yeah, it's exactly. It's like, well, go for the bit the fattier. You can cook them down a bit. They still remain juicy. They're not overly dry.
Personally, I like a good lamb burger. That's just me.
I don't mind lamb. The problem is that
It's
lamb
fucking
is
expensive.
expensive. Well, you know what? Lamb used to be relatively cheap.
A lot of
Something happened to lamb. Something happened.
Well,
not. It's weird when it comes to meat. I mean, chicken, except for a few. I mean, chicken worldwide is accepted. Pork isn't. Beef isn't. Lamb is.
well, lamb is a big one. But here's what I found out because well, we're talking goats, but I know he has some other stuff. One of my coworkers, I'm not even sure why he's working. I think he's working just so his wife doesn't kill him.
Where's that?
Well, they own like 2,000 acres, and this was when land was $2,000 an acre. Land has jumped up to $35,000 an acre where he is. So, he's like, well, he's doing this, but the Middle East is a huge importer of a lot of the meat. And so what they did is they've been, especially lamb and goat. And so apparently there's a train that comes over, it drops off the goats at X weight, and then they fatten them up. And when they're done, they load them back on the train, they get reweighed, and they get paid the difference. And then they ship all of that goat pretty much over to the Middle East. And I think that's what may have happened with lamb. But I still can't understand, like where we are, there are plenty of places for lamb and things like this, sheep and everything else. Why am I still getting tons of imported lamb from like Australia and New Zealand?
I trust me. I don't know. I mean, most lamb I find around here is halal friendly.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and I'm not against halal. I'm not. I do think that it, but my whole point is a lot of it's being shipped overseas is what's happening. And as much when they're talking about retaliatory things for tariffs, like, oh, okay, but some of it has also come down. And I found because I was talking to some ranchers a year or two ago,
right?
They weren't getting paid any more for the price of beef, but the price of beef kept going up, and it's because we have a stranglehold on our slaughterhouses, and this is where I really wish Thomas Massey, and this is where I get mad about. I don't care which side of the aisle on. This should be a no-brainer. Thomas Massey said, "How about instead of having the USDA inspect all of the stuff, is that you're allowed, as long as it doesn't get transported over state lines, the states can inspect meat facilities, and that would break up these cartels because it's like 4 companies control 80% of all of the beef processing. 4, and I said, and it didn't used to be this way. They just kept consolidating. Well, if you did the Prime Beef Act, guess what? I can go to my local butcher and say, hey, this is what's going to go on. And when I was at A&M, this is what I thought was funny. When I was at A&M, and of course they would sell off everything. This one I was getting like tenderloin for $10 a pound. Is they would have their sales, and it would be like half off because no one would be shopping during the summer. You would go over in the front. They had all the cuts of meat. They were all frozen and everything. And the back, you might see 2 or 3 cows just like waiting to be steers, rather. They're just waiting to be slaughtered, looking around because that was part of the animal science classes. The animal science, they have to do the butchering, and so then
Well, you'd be amazed. I mean, fuck. This won't mean anything to you, but Pottstown, Bart moved back to their original base. They're no longer a metro center. But I even in the culinary arts world, I only maybe just because I'm stuck where I'm at right now, but out of all the guys I've met so far, I can only name like maybe 5 guys that can actually process a large animal.
You know what? I'm not saying that I can process an animal. I haven't.
It's not that hard. It really.
No, it's not.
You might get some ugly cuts in the very beginning, but.
Yeah, well, you know what though is I just made from the half of the cow. I was looking over and I found some chuck roast, and I said okay, so I grabbed like 4 pounds chuck roast, and all I did was dice up a couple of onions, a shallot, threw in some cloves of garlic. I didn't even do anything. I think I might have just crushed them and just thrown them in. Threw in a can of tomato paste, a
cup of wine.
A cup of wine. It was literally a cup of Marsala wine.
Yeah.
And a cup of beef stock. And then of course I threw in some pepper and a little bit of paprika, thyme, rosemary. What's that?
No, continue.
Thyme, rosemary, just cracked pepper. I said, okay, I did that. And I just put it in the oven for 4 hours or 5 hours at like 300 degrees until the point that all of the meat was just, when we talk about fork tender, you could just break it apart. And I was like, it's not that hard to cook a lot of stuff, especially if you have a crock pot or something.
Oh, crock pot, you just load up and walk away and you're fine.
Exactly.
I've had this argument with a few people, and there's a couple people around in my area that's like, well, you should run for school board. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. I'll have that job for maybe a whole fucking day before I'm asked to resign. I think home ec needs to be brought back into high school.
I'll tell you the best thing I ever did with my son was teach him how to cook.
Oh yeah, that reason. For that reason.
And I don't even know why people do home ec. Here's what I'm not saying that to me these are basic life skills people should have, which I always avoided home ec. But people aren't teaching their children anything. They're not teaching them
time.
You know what? People
have to work. If both
you know what? People say that, and I look over at them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I talked about this." I'm like, why didn't you teach your child on how to cook instead of watching Game of Thrones? I mean, no offense.
To a certain degree, I agree with you, but I know people where the mom and dad both work, you're 50 hours a week type job, and they just don't have the brain energy to come home and do it. It's a shame, but that's the world we live in.
Well, here's the thing, though, and this is what I would laugh at. Do you know how old my son was when I taught him how to cook? He was like 6 or 7.
6, yeah.
And do you know what? And Millie, he's pretty lazy about things, but the things that I taught him how to cook, which are pasta, which is, hey son, boil the water. Now, Millie, I didn't want him to get stuff, but I bought a induction plate, and I put it on the floor. I just plug it in, I put it on the floor, and like if you spill it, you can step away. You're not going to, But there was that one, He learned how to make eggs. He actually got good enough to make pancakes, which he doesn't like making because that's too much work. I said, well, that's fine. I'm tired of you eating too many pancakes. If it's going to take work, then that's up to you. But I'm like, those are easy. And then sometimes with sausages and things like that, there are things that are really easy to make that people, like you said with the crock pot, man, if you just cut up some stuff, you throw it into the crock pot, and you walk away, and 12 hours later, when you come back from work, guess what? Your food's already made.
My daughter's 14, turning 15, right? She can make, there's not much she doesn't already know how to cook. Mainly, I can say, well, she's my daughter, and I've had her in the kitchen with me most of her life. But it's a rare. I'm the rarity, not the norm. I get that, but you get home. You're not to say but the person gets home. Their spouse gets home. They have a mind-numbing, fucking exhausting fucking day.
Yeah,
the kids are at school. They get home, and the concept of it's just be a whole lot easier for me to make dinner. Everybody sit down, eat, go to bed. And that's where we're at because cost of living, it went from reasonable to what the fuck.
Well, I'm going to bring this other part up too because I'm not sure how you grew up. Admittedly, I grew up in more of a middle class or upper middle class. Even then, one is I cooked. Now, my mother stayed at home, which made it easier, but my mom who taught me to cook. But I'm going to say this as someone who I used to, with my son, I would take him into Chicago when I had him for a few weeks at 3. It's like, look, I woke up at 4:30 every morning. I went to bed at 9 o'clock every night. I made sure that I was up at 4:30. I made him breakfast. He got on the train with me. We went over. I dropped him off at daycare. I went around and I went over and did my job. I was like, okay, I picked him up from daycare. I went home. He played for an hour or two outside because I wanted him to get all that energy off. I made dinner, and then I went to bed early because I had to wake up early. That was my schedule for 3 weeks. That's fine. No, I'm not disagreeing with it. Okay, so now that was up in Chicago. Now I'm over here. The biggest time saver I ever did was teach that boy how to cook. Because guess what? I stopped cooking, and he cooked for himself. I was like, boom. And, he actually makes some really good pancakes if he's in, it's more of his mood. It's more of his mood. But the best thing I think that people can do is it's amazing on what happens if you get rid of your television. I mean, if you really want to, and that's part of it. But I look at, my father used to work 70-something hours a week. That was fine. But I still remember, when you're talking about, rough times, part of it is I think that people are just, just the whole thing. And I'm bad about it too, is, my mother did other stuff. It's like, okay, go outside and play and do this. But a lot of the things that people think that they need, they don't need. And what I mean by don't need is they don't even enrich their lives.
Once again, not arguing with you, Bruce. You were going to say something?
Oh yeah, sorry about that, Bruce.
No, not really. Go ahead.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm sure that when you were a kid, Bruce, and I don't know if you know what economic level you were at, but some of this stuff, I have no brothers or sisters, but I looked at my friends, a lot of the stuff that they were being made was pretty easy to make. It was not overly hard. It was like, okay, things took time. Don't get me wrong, things took time. That was a big part. And so when people had a crock pot, it was like the lifesaver. Guess what? Throw in the vegetables. Throw in this.
Last month, my oldest, Laszlo, we've talked about, he's autistic. He wanted to make traditional pizza.
Yeah.
Well, again, buffalo mozzarella in Peoria is next to impossible.
Yeah, it is. I have to.
Even up in Chicago to a certain degree, it's impossible. So I called, it came out of fucking California.
Okay.
And I get them all the ingredients, the right tomatoes, the buffalo mozzarella, and he made pizza from scratch. It's not that I was raised by my grandparents. Yeah. I was raised by my mom and my stepdad, which I wish it was just my fucking mom for the most part. But I had two parents. I always had two guardians, two parents in the house at my entire childhood, right?
Yeah.
Now, I lucked out. My grandma was an amazing fucking cook and chef in her own right, and I learned from her. My daughter will become an amazing fucking chef in her own right because she has me.
Yeah.
And that's a different level. We're not talking easy sit. We're talking complex cooking. Now, easy cooking is only easy if you have somebody there to show you how to do it. If you're lucky enough to have both parents, that's awesome. If you only have one parent because one's in the military, is always gone, or just always gone with work, or just not fucking around because they're a deadbeat parent, and it falls onto the mom or the father to be the parent. Work is good, and I've seen this. This is not me hyperbolating this. I've seen it. They just don't have the time, the energy to do this. Where I'm saying home ec, no one writes fucking checks anymore. The bank will tell you how much money you have. Learning how to sew, yeah, I think that should still be a skill that people have. But bring back sewing and fucking cooking in high school. I'm not talking.
Bruce.
Yo.
Do you remember having to sew your patches onto your uniforms?
Absolutely.
But
you didn't have to do that. You could pay somebody else to do it, but I made money as an E2 sewing people's patches on because I actually like sewing. If I haven't noticed, guys, working with my hands is one of my greatest gifts I've been given, and I have no problem with it. So, doing sewing, sure, I'll do it.
The reason that I'm not saying I was nearly as good as Bruce, but I still learned that basic stuff. But that was with my mother being at home. But I'm looking at it for myself, which is, and this is what I've noticed so much. I've even noticed this at work. People aren't willing to invest the time now to save themselves time in 3 months. And that's what I, maybe it's just because I'm more of a forward thinker for stuff like that, which is.
It's all perspective.
Well, but my perspective in this case, again, like I said, is I worked, we traveled, we did all this stuff. I was making sure my son was fed. Again, I would buy eggs.
And I'm not saying this to be a smartass. You're a good fucking parent. I would never say, with all the things you've ever said, I would say that you're probably a great parent. I'm a mediocre parent just because I'm a shithill, but that's just me.
All I'm really saying for a lot of this is for anyone that's going to have kids, doing the most basic stuff with your kids will pay dividends long term. And that's what really gets me. And the other part is if you have kids, and you'll find this out because I'm looking at my friends that had, where they had like 4 or 5 siblings or something, and the older sibling was generally in charge of cooking and stuff like that. They had to make their own food for that. I'm not saying it was great, but man, there's so many things that are easy. An egg is an easy, and it's even with the newer prices, it's relatively cheap.
You say that, but you'd be amazed how many high-end restaurants, as an interview aspect, you need to fry a fucking perfect egg over easy, and how many people fucking fall short of it.
Well, yes, but I'm saying,
that's why I scramble my eggs.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but most of the people I see that cook,
they
aren't looking for that end of cooking, and they'll overcook the egg. But at the end of the day, but if you're talking about your basic necessities, if you look at eggs, eggs got it really unreasonably expensive, and I don't know why. But like Bruce was showing for this, like you throw in a cup, eggs are easy to make. Yogurt can get a bit expensive, but again, some of this stuff. But when you start calculating on how much you're spending for fast food,
don't even go there with me. I've been doing sales calls lately, and so like I've been stopping in these pubs or taverns and ordering food while I'm throwing out my fucking rift. Yeah, and I've got to sell if I want to make up what I spent. Because the other day I went over to the place called the Beagle right around the corner. And the Beagle has a $8 pretzel. They've got a $14 hamburger with fries. They've got what else I ordered? Chips and salsa. Fucking took me. Oh yeah, and I had 2 Guinnesses because they were on tap. So that was like $43. But I made sure that I fucking ate good. I hadn't eaten all day. So
I'm I'm sure to find out that restaurants are about as expensive as going to fast food.
Night crafting.
I mean, that's what's getting me is I'm going over to there's a place called Oscars here. And Millie, okay, fine. I got 2 sides of mashed potatoes. I get chicken strips, and I think that was like $16. But hell, I went over to like Chick-fil-A, and I get, the chicken strips are much smaller where they are there. And you're like, okay, you buy 2 of those, and you buy like a side, and you're already at $16.
Yep.
Or McDonald's, again, the you can get the hamburgers, but the dollar menu is kind of gone now, so I don't know what
The
things
dollar
are.
menu was amazing while we had it.
Yeah, but I mean, but you start looking at the price, like I can go over to like there's a place called Wes's or this. You can get a small hamburger and it still looks bigger than the hamburgers you're getting from the fast food places, and they come with fries, and they're like $8 or $9 anyway. So I'm like,
I got
what?
my tax. No, I got you. I got my tax refund back, and I figured, I want a good hamburger. I'm gonna go over to Five Guys because at least I know that's real fucking hamburger meat.
Sure.
$37.
Oh my God.
Hamburger, large fry, large drink. $37.49.
I don't go there for a reason.
So
And
even Publix, which we were talking about being expensive,
yeah,
I was finding $75.25. It was for a pound. Was I think that it was on sale, and their sales are often enough that if you go frequently, you'll know when their sales are. It was, I think, $5 a pound or something like that. I'm like, okay, you do that with it, and I've done this with my son. Hey, son, here's some cheese. Here's a hamburger. Here's an egg on top. And Millie, for young men, okay, you really need to get a lot of food into them. But I see a lot of women, like, you don't need that much food. And then stop paying, these people who complain about prices and then go to Starbucks and pay $6 for a cup of coffee.
Oh, I know. Starbucks kills me.
Man,
Starbucks is not. Oh man, I'm still pissed off at Starbucks. When I wake up in the morning, I'm sure you two are coffee guys, right?
Nope, I hate coffee with a passion, but that's
Okay.
fine.
it's all right. Well, you're out of the will anyway, but go ahead.
First thing I have when I wake up is a cup of tea. That's just how
Okay,
I was
yeah.
raised, though. And Teavana was this amazing bastion of tea places, but America's a coffee country. I mean, we had a tea party to prove that we are a coffee country.
Unless it's iced tea down south.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
tons of that.
And that's not even tea, that's just flavored sugar.
Well, you can get
So
unsweetened.
Starbucks bought, hey Justin, I'm about ready to wrap this up or I'll send you a link. Starbucks bought Teavana, and the first thing they fucking did was close that shit down because we can't have any competition that's not fucking coffee.
Here's I'm sure that, well, again, I'm not sure how much you guys remember, but down south, there was a lot of sun tea, where you just
Oh,
grab
yeah.
a bunch of tea bags, you throw them into the
Throw them in the pitcher, then put it outside and let the sun take care of it.
exactly, and you only have to use like half as many tea bags as what you normally would. Like 8 hours later, you come out, and it's like, all right, and you got enough for whatever.
At least a couple days. Yeah, no, I remember tea, sun tea as a kid. You get Lipton's black tea. You throw anywhere 4 to mainly just 4 into your glass, 1 gallon thing. You shove it outside, and you get it like mid afternoon. No, I get it. No, I didn't.
I'm just saying that the way that and I think this is part of the problem I'm looking at is I look at my parents' generation, and admittedly they were not, my parents were not hurting for anything. I guess my father had, but they were very practical on what you could eat and what was there. And like, okay, hey, mashed potatoes are fairly cheap. Rice is fairly cheap.
Were they children of the Depression?
My parents were not. They're my grandparents were.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I look at that group, and then I look at my friends who ate the food that so we're talking 1980s. A lot of stuff was made at home, was not that hard to make. And I had plenty of my friends that actually their parents worked just as much as they did, and they may have actually had larger families. Um, but nowadays, it just seems, and I'm not saying that people aren't doing better. I think that people aren't doing better, relatively speaking. Um, it's the expectations are higher for one, and then I know it's harder to get, a good house or things like that they had when they were younger. Um, but you also look at where, like, the things that are expected. Oh, I have to have a new car. What? Why aren't you buying a used car? You don't make enough money for a new car. Um,
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of that, and I mean, my one set of my grandparents did that, and they were always near poverty because of it. Um, it's like, well, we have to have this, we have to do this, we have to keep up with them, we have to keep up with them. My other side, which is where my grandfather passed away at 42. So my father here is, it was like, kids, you go work because we needed to have enough to feed the family kind of thing. And so everyone was working if they could. And you just don't see that any of that work ethic anymore. I'm not saying that it's great. When people talking about pay, yeah, pay sucks. But do you know what got me to become an engineer? Was because I hated my job. Every job I hated, I said, okay, where's the next step to get me ahead from this crappy job I'm doing now? And actually, one of the jobs I did like, I knew was a dead end, which I enjoyed working, loading boxes at FedEx. Physically, that was probably the best shape I've been in my life. But I was getting paid, what, $1 or $2 above minimum wage? I mean, come on. There was nothing in there. And when I wanted to make more money, I worked an 18-hour day by hopping on one of the trucks and helping out the driver.
The reason I worked third shift when I was doing the factory work at Caterpillar,
Yeah.
I wasn't working for Caterpillar, but I was working through like Manpower or whatever.
Yeah.
Forklift driver, midnight. That was guaranteed $15 an hour because of $2 for hazard pay and $13 for being a forklift driver.
It's like, look, but I think that in some ways, and I even heard this in the 90s. I heard there was a place in Australia where they were talking about they would only hire two groups of people: farm kids and immigrants, because they said those kids were willing to work.
Not wrong. Fuck, it's not wrong. It's
that's what gets me about all of it. I said, they're like, well, because I was listening to one guy. I said, okay, first off, don't ever think that. And I was telling this to one of my my coworkers before she took the early severance package that they gave.
Yeah.
well, that was the whole. I'll say this much: that's a great deal if you take it. But it was different. It's not that she didn't want to work; it's that they were not willing to work with her about her location, which is it's a specialty reason. It's not that but I was and I was hearing people. I was trying to tell them, because this younger generation for some reason thinks that companies should be loyal to you. I said, they're there to make money. Your job is to make money. I said, if you want to get job satisfaction, do something at home. At the end of the day, I said, if you go and work in the private sector and they talk about loyalty or whatever else, I said, unless that owner is going to put you in his house if you lose your job, or he's going to go out of his way for personal, I said, it's purely business. I said, this whole idea of anything else, I said, unless they're going to personally take care of you if something bad happens, I said, don't think of them as a friend or anything else. This is a job.
Oh, no. The restaurant I work at,
yeah,
the management is like, we're a family here.
Fuck you.
You got to look out for your family member. Like, no, I got to worry about my fucking paycheck and what my kid's doing.
Well, again, if it's family, then are they going to loan you money when you have to do this? Are they going to help find a new car? I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some bosses that do this. There are. Those are the people that you want to be loyal to. But but whenever they like scream loyalty, but then they're not willing to work with you or anything else, it's like, no, But that's a personal thing.
We want you to show up 30 minutes early, but don't clock in. No, I'm sorry. If I'm here, I'm getting paid.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of fell for me over at what is that? K's Merchandise. God, that place fucked up so hard by asking me to do that. Like, no. Oh, we really need you. All right, pay me. No, okay. Good luck.
Yeah, we want you here 30 minutes early so you can set up your station. It'll take me 15 minutes. Anyways, I'll wait for Omen Al to get back. But Bruce, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game. It is. Let's see if Chance can survive another outing.
It's going to be an interesting show. That's all I'm going to say because we got that battle we're jumping right into. Mindy won't be there anymore.
Who won't?
Mindy.
Why? What happened to Mindy?
She got a new job, and
that sucks.
It's impacted her Saturdays. I'm going to
argue with her anymore.
What?
No, I won't be able. I won't be able to argue with her anymore. No,
you won't. I won't be able to bitch at her about things. Do you have any friends that know Pathfinder that would like to play?
I'll shake some trees. I know Kevin might, but he's doing taxes right now, so he's in the thicket.
I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah. Tomorrow we got Chris that he'll run the 3 characters for Mindy, but he's going to be tapped out at six fucking character sheets.
Yeah, no shit.
Poor fucker.
I'll see what I can. Let's see what I can look into. I don't know.
I wish we had Shark in our fucking chat. I'm like, Shark, what do you know about Pathfinder? Talk to me.
I wish we can get fucking Big Greg back.
Yeah.
I mean, right now he'd be in fucking pig and slop. Jesus. Anyways, everybody out there, the 5 people that are still watching us, go to fucking bed. It is late. You should know better.
Yeah, I should have been to bed at 3 hours ago.
Did you know that the best April Fool's joke I've read so far is still from Reaper Miniatures?
What did they do?
They put on their latest news for this last April 1st. Happy April, folks. We've managed to infiltrate the newsroom and wrest control of the Reaper printing press, so we're going to start regularly releasing some news updates for you guys here on the website. You expect to hear about new releases, current events at the factory, other bits and tidbits from time to time. We're going to update every couple weeks, so without further ado, we're going to get started. And so they go down, they talk about a dire gummy bear, and they actually have a dire gummy bear. And then they have the April promotional figure, the cute Easter dragon, which I'm working on right now. And they're going to update their classic Bones DHL favorites into updated Siocast 3D printed figures. And all of them will be updated to reflect the Studio Ghibli style of appearance.
You know what my favorite is Alexander Macris, who does the Adventure Conquer King system.
Great system.
Decided to put in that he was going to be doing one for a I forgot what it was. It was basically a romantic gothic setting for his game, for Adventure Conquer King system, including there's putting all this stuff down there. And he says, including special abilities like Well Endowed. And I think it came out as Cock or something like that. It was KOCH is what it abbreviated to, and yeah, and people, forgot it was April 1st. Like, oh man, this sounds great. And then he's like, oh, then I realized it was April Fool's. And then people going, well, if you're going to do it, we would back it. He's like, I have never thought that it would backfire on me to do an April Fool's joke that people actually wanted to support.
It's funny. Oh, fucking April 1st came in. I'm like, kind of just ignoring everything I'm reading. And then the report comes out that Val Kilmer has passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's fucking April Fool's, haha. Then the next day, I'm like, oh, fuck. He's actually died.
Okay. So this is what he said. Acts 2, Kingdom of the Conquered Heart. 384-page Kingdom of the Conquered Heart features dozens of new character classes based on popular archetypes from romantic fantasy, including the Beastmaster, Changeling, Darkling Sorcerer, Dragon Knight, Dread Pirate, so on. So with so many new character classes, it's no surprise the source book also includes new class powers and proficiencies, including Bedroom Eyes, Brooding Temperament, Chiseled Jaw, Dungeon Mastery, 8-pack abs, Flexibility, Manscaping, available in 3 ranks, Muscular Physique, Piercing Stare, Tousled Hair, and Well Endowed.
Wow.
And and people are like, oh man, I hope this works. So, yeah. And so it's done by his wife. He says, with her extensive market research. It was. Anyway, we were, of course, it's abbreviated as KOCH. So they've been demanding cock, and we're giving it to them.
All right, I'm killing the stream. Everybody in chat, you have a good night.
All right. Have a good night.